Looks like we're live. Thanks for joining the Friday night stream. Let's see here. And we got one watching. All right, we went out flying today. I'm sure Steve will tell you all about it. I didn't fly much, only 2 flights. Now, I'll tell you this. The old shoe that I thought flew really well that I made top 20 with several times really doesn't fly as well as this. So I'm pulling this back out because I'm going to fly this in N30 anyway at the Nats and getting this ready to go for the next session. Then, of course, I'm going to repair the orange one too and get it ready to go for this season. The orange one ended up getting a hole in the covering. Wow, look at that. There is some crud on there. Makes it look kind of dingy. I got nobody yet. I wonder who it'll be. What did I put on there? Friday night or Monday night? I think I put Friday night. Yeah. Or is this Friday? Yeah, this is Friday. Okay. God, I can't even think. I'm going to tell you a little story about, you guys know that I need bandwidth in order to be able to stream. So I use these little hotspots. Let me dig it out of the trash here. I use these little prepaid hotspots. This is a Moxie, Moxee. Don't buy these. These are junk. This was my second one. I went to Best Buy to buy a third one. I don't know if you guys heard, but yesterday I went in the trash. I went on the phone with Straight Talk, which is who I was using as a carrier. And I spent from 9 o'clock in the morning till about 3 o'clock in the afternoon arguing back and forth. And I don't mean hanging up. The phone was on hold the whole time. So finally, they hung up on me. They disconnected it. Okay, great. So they called me back and put me on the hold for 2 hours. They called me and put me on hold for 2 hours. And I just decided I've had enough. I've been with that company 11 years. Hey, Gary. I had been with that company 11 years. So when I walked through the door at Best Buy, the guy said, "What are you here for?" I said, "I want to get another one of them Moxie things." He said, "Well, let me tell you about a better deal." So the phone looks exactly the same. This one's not on. Got a different, oh, it is on. Got a different case. But this is an 11 and this is a 16, iPhone 16. Didn't cost me a penny. It's going to cost me, I'm sure. But the plan saves me. This plan is more, $10 more a month, but over the 3-month billing period, it saves me $40 because the hotspot is $50 a month. So I was getting hosed anyway. So I checked this out. AT&T, the internet. This has got a hotspot on it, so I don't have to have a little little box. It's all in one. So this is what I'm going to be streaming with at Brodak. We'll hope that it works. Brodak is a unique area because it's out in the middle of Hooterville, and it doesn't have a cell tower, I don't think, for miles. So some carriers get reception and some don't. Now I asked them, does it, we looked up Brodak's zip code. I said, does it cover this area? And they said yes. I said, if you screw me up, I'm coming back here to thump you. But he subscribed to the channel. He said, well, he asked what I was doing. I said, well, I do model airplane videos, and he thought it was cool, and he subscribed. So we'll see what happens. And you guys don't lose your Apple iCloud password. What a nightmare that is. Your Apple ID. Oh, man. Well, Ed, I might be working for Gulfstream.
Oh, really? At West Star?
I guess that's what it is in St. Louis here.
Yeah.
They have a opening for a painter,
Okay.
and you don't have to have an A&P license.
Exactly. Yeah. The ones that are taking care of it, they'll have to verify everything and do the sign off. But you just have to make sure you have all the correct certs, all the any of the stuff that's required. So that's a good point. And also, keep in mind that not only do they do exterior, they probably also do interior. Those interiors are high dollar.
Oh no, I got a hole in this airplane. Holy crap. Well, we got to see if we can repair this. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I got to stop putting them back in that hole back there.
Oh, no, Gulfstream does have a service center, I see. Okay.
We'll see.
What are
We
you gonna be? Are you gonna be wanting to do touch-ups, or are you gonna be part of painting the whole airplane?
I don't know.
Oh.
Whatever they need, I can do it all. I don't know how much corrosion they get on these airplanes not being next to the water.
Well, let's put it this way. They watch it very closely because it can trash an airplane fairly quickly. And after so many hours, we do a lot of ultrasound inspections to try to find that hidden stuff. So,
Well, there's 37 different kinds of corrosion. Did you know that?
no, I just know it as corrosion.
Galvanic, surface, intergranular,
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. I'm with you
similar
now.
metals.
Yep.
We're going to try to get away without painting this. I just want to pull this up, put a patch on it, clear dope. Can't believe I did that. I know what happened. when I put them back there, I stack them up like cordwood. One of the landing gears legs went through this back here. So I can get some clear dope and a brush. Okay. Bummer. Okay. You guys talk amongst yourselves. I'll be back here in a second.
Gary, how you doing?
Doing pretty good.
That's good.
Yeah. Got my driver's side window. Something snapped in it and it's down inside the door. So I got to go try to get it fixed tomorrow.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Well, and it's one of those electric doors, right? Electric
Yeah.
windows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We just had it down at the mailbox and then kind of to bring it back up and something snapped up in. So I don't know.
Wow.
So I suppose it's the cord in there or something. Cable, I suppose,
Well, the
snapped.
the last I gave up trying to work on cars, and that was funny. Years ago, I had a brand new car. I bought the books, which was probably one of my first, yeah, one of my first new cars. And window stopped working, the electric window. It's like, no problem. I went to troubleshoot it. Next thing I know, here's circuit boards and here's stuff, and I was able to figure out what was wrong. But now you need special tooling to change out the parts. It's
Yeah.
like you got to be kidding me. So,
Yeah. It makes it bad, doesn't it?
yep.
So take
So
it in early in the morning. Hope they get it. They can get it fixed.
yeah. Well,
Because it was
what?
about an inch down from it, the top.
Yeah.
So we left it all night, and then we went down there today. Is going to pull it back up and tape it so it'd be up. And it's down inside the door, and I can't get to it to
Oh, geez.
lift it up. So that's it.
Take the
I don't
door
have too
card
far
off.
to go. What do you say?
Take the door card off. Ain't no big deal.
Oh,
That's the interior part. It just unclips. You go to Harbor Freight and get a tool for it. It's got like a fork. You stick it in behind the door card and pry it out and pop right off.
yeah.
And just reach your hand in there and do whatever you need to do. 15
Well,
minute job.
well,
I hope it is.
Oh, they'll charge you an hour, but 15
Oh.
minutes. Okay, we need.
well, I don't mess with that stuff anymore. I'll let somebody else do it.
Get it all tore up and then can't get it back together again or something like. But
Yep.
like you say, you need a tool
Well,
that you don't have, and then
anything that I've done over the last 6, 7 years has taken 3 times longer than it should. So it's like, no, I'm not spending all day. We last weekend or no, last Monday, out at St. Mary's there, we had the police. Everybody was invited. Police, EMS, jail. In regards to they're doing training with the drones and stuff. So it was pretty interesting and that to see them. And
so
that's
they
stuff
come
that
down
they
and
could
use their
do.
field.
Yeah, use the field.
Field to do it. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Looked at one. He had it hovering at 1,200 feet, which is our max altitude, and clicked on the bridge. The Ohio Bridge there, 3.2 miles from the field, watching the cars going up and across the bridge. Could almost zoom in and almost make out exactly who was in it.
That's something. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Steve's not in here.
Yeah, he was in here last night, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He should be here. He flew his airplane today.
Oh, did he?
Yeah,
Mhm. No report yet?
I'm gonna let him report it.
That's good.
Yeah, we're bloody 53 degrees and 10 to 20 mile an hour winds.
Oh, I know.
They
It's
gotta
supposed,
turn the harp off.
Yeah.
and it's not going to be much better the next 4 or 5 days.
Like the rail says, blowing hootie. It was blowing pretty stiff. Yeah, we had 18 mile an hour, I think, there most of the day.
Days.
It was watching a windy video,
I was doing
let
that
it
last night
let it
too.
ring and tell. Yeah.
When I don't come on, you guys are traitors, huh?
Well,
Oh, anything with airplanes. I've been watching them.
yep.
They had something today we was watching this. I don't know exactly. Texas, I think it was. They had all these. Looks like college students or something had these airplanes. They was making all different kinds of weird designs and everything. They had them flying, but boy, the wind was strong there too. But some of them was weird. They didn't. Some of them did pretty good.
Carl, you're shuffling around with the microphone.
Oh, sorry. Stuff I have on the table. I'll mute it.
Hey, them papers rustling.
Yeah.
He was counting his money.
Yeah.
Well, if that was true, I'll be doing it in front of you. I wouldn't hide it. Saying, okay, how much do you guys want? How much you guys want? No, it says the earphones out were scraping on the plastic table I'm on. So, how is everybody doing?
Surviving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had ankle replacement, Carl, and so it's once the nerve block wore off after about 4 months, all of a sudden you go from feeling pretty good to, wow, that's really bugging me.
Yeah.
So it's
Well, that's when you go to the doctor and get more painkillers or more heavy duty painkillers, right? Put more nitrile in the nerves.
painkillers and I don't get along.
Yeah. I don't like taking much either. So, how long is it going to take for you to heal up completely?
Year and a half. I'm on month 7.
Yeah. Is your ankle mobilized or is it?
No, they wanted to lock it in place, so I went for
Yeah.
a
I see.
replacement.
Yeah.
So I'm able to move it and do stuff, but you get the swelling as the day goes on.
Yeah. Was it because of arthritis?
Yeah, that I was bone on bone. I had a bone spur in there.
Yeah.
So, but at least I can sit and still build airplanes.
There you go.
Was you
Yeah.
on your feet a lot? Is that what caused it?
No, no. And twofold. I was sports and tennis all my life, but
Oh,
my acid level ran on the high side, borderline, which nothing was done years ago. So it slowly eroded the cartilage and stuff. So both knees have been replaced. My right ankle, my left shoulder's bone on bone.
Oh man,
golly
you're
sakes.
My left ankle is close to bone on bone. So other than that, I
Oh
feel
my,
great.
oh
yeah
my God.
you're a robo pilot,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like RoboCop, robo pilot.
yeah, 4.5 pounds of titanium in each knee right now.
Yeah,
And
that's
I
what
don't know
she
how
said
much in
here.
my ankle.
I bet you set the alarms off when you go to the airport, right?
Yep. Even though I'm pre-checked, that doesn't do me any good.
Yeah.
And that
Well, at least you can still vertical and see yourself in the mirror, right?
that's right. I'm pretty happy.
Yeah.
Still build airplanes. So that's good.
Yep. And was flying prior to was
Yeah.
able to fly control line prior to the surgery and stuff. And that I got up to 5 minutes. And of course now I'm back to just trouble standing still. Standing still is what gets me.
Mhm.
Yeah. I know when you have knee replacements, you have to exercise your knee or both knees, like on the stationary bike,
Yep.
to keep it lubricated. So, what do you do to keep your ankle lubricated to keep it from freezing up?
Zert
Well,
fitting.
I have a recumbent bike and that,
I
but
know.
what I do though is I just go out and every day I've been
I walk.
walking and doing stuff.
Okay.
He's got a zert fitting. You just kind of grease it up.
I, that's what I requested. They laughed, and that was about it.
Is it castor oil or 1040 or? No. You gotta have a little bit of sense of humor on this stuff, otherwise they'll just drive you crazy, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yep. Yeah. So on a different note, I was checking in. I might have talked briefly about it before, trying to see about interest in a control line fly-in or contest, whatever would be interested here at the sports complex that I use in the late August, September timeframe of 2026. And the back turf, I got measurements the other day, is 225 feet wide by 345 feet long. So that appears to easily fit two circles, but I'm just wonder whether three will work. You guys normally would do 70 foot plus 10 foot, so 80, so at least 160 foot diameter, I would say, Sparky.
Yeah,
Or can you go smaller than that?
it depends. If the guys are flying 15 size airplanes, they're going to be smaller, but
Yeah.
big stunners are going to be a minimum of 75 feet, 80 feet, minimum.
Yeah.
More
Okay.
the better.
Yeah. It
well,
looks like at least you could have two big circles and like a half A or like you said, a 15 size circle.
What's the dimensions of this thing?
225 feet wide and 345 feet long.
So you get one. Yeah, you get two and a little one.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Now, I got to go back out and measure it because they might be just quoting the turf area, whereas you've got more room around it. And that where I'm going to look at what the fence line is, things like that.
well, what's the maximum length of lines you can put on the plane, or is there?
70, according to the AMA. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
Because Sparky was saying 70 minimum, which means you can go more than 70 feet.
No, the circle has to be 70 minimum, and then you ain't got any,
Okay,
leeway.
got it. Well, if you're flying on 70-foot lines, don't you want the circle a little bigger to
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
a buffer zone of some sort?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to take the information when I go to Brodak and just try to see what the interest would be in that. I'm also trying to work with talking with the schools. They always have some kind of competition on Science Olympiad or Technical Students Association. As it turns out, there's a bunch of other ones, but I want to try to see about, well, why can't we have a control line deal and that? So, but the wheels turn slow there because now nobody's interested because it's summer break. So you can't really talk much with anybody until next fall again.
They're not interested because it doesn't have breasts or buttons.
Yeah. Well, I went to a technical college, high school technical college last week, and I was pretty impressed with what they do and that. And here's everybody doing all hands on and making it happen. So
Here's what you tell them, and it's real simple. You better learn now a skilled trade because that's the only thing that AI can't take over.
yeah. Yep. Well, it's
Yeah.
gotten even with what I do on these aircraft. Years ago, they came out with wanting to know. I had to report what the discrepancy was and what was the fix. So when the customer would call our help desk and he said, "I've got an oil leak at so and so," well, no matter who was on the desk, they could just pull up the reports and go, "Well, yeah, you need to look at this, this, and this," and all they do is just start going down what's been reported.
But that person at the desk is soon to be replaced by AI.
Exactly. Yep. So it's funny. The aircraft, the engines and aircraft now with all this electronics and all this sophistication, it kind of works pretty good. But when they break, nobody knows what to do.
Yeah.
You know.
Just like
You-
motorcycles, they went to digital technician. Well,
Yep.
So it
You
says it's
gotta.
31. Great. What is that?
Yep.
Where do you
Yeah.
find
Yeah. We have to go to the cockpit first, then we got to get our votometer out, and then we might get some wrenches out. But when you have something intermittent or you have a bad wire, people are lost. We get sent all over to do this stuff because people have no idea what to do.
Well, I got to tell you, experienced mechanics can get lost in intermittent problems.
Oh yeah, yep.
Let me tell
We're
you a
slow.
story
Yeah.
about we had a bike come into Harley Davidson. I got the job, unfortunately. And the book flat rate book says replace any single wire 2/10. So that's going to take what 14 minutes to replace any single wire in the bike. Well, what happened was is this bike wouldn't key. You have a key fob on it to set the alarm.
Yeah,
When it was inside the building, underneath the RF of the lights, it would key. And when you take it outside the building, it wouldn't key. And you go, what the hell is wrong with that? Well, I finally narrowed it down. The antenna is in the turn signal, you know. So
yeah,
I took that. This took like 2 days to find. I took that wire off the turn signal, eliminated it, and just hung the wire out the side of the bike, and it
yeah.
started working. So then I'm tracing back that wire, but it's not broke anywhere in the harness. What do you think was wrong with that? Because they ended up, replacing the harness, and I cut the harness apart. In Mexico, where they wrapped that harness, they took that antenna and wrapped it around the hot wire. So the RF frequency, when the juice was on, was emitting, a high voltage frequency in it, and it would not key.
Jeez.
Because I unwrapped that wire, the red wire was going this way, and that purple wire was going around that wire. Why the hell would they do that? I mean, it took forever to find.
Yep.
Factory figure it out.
I had one that was intermittent where landing gear wouldn't come down or go up all the time. And when they spliced the wire, they barely stripped it. So it was just barely touching wire. And after a little bit of corrosion, one time it worked, one time it won't. But you talk about a tough time, like you say, tough time finding it.
Well, I'm glad you didn't say they used a Scotch lock on it. We used to have customers bring in motorcycles that they would use wire nuts on and black tape to hold the wires together. Come on, guys. Solder joints and shrink wrap. Okay, let's get we'll get the hair dryer out, or the monocoat gun out, and shrink.
Well, said hi to Carl. I see Roy came in. Roy, how you doing?
Good, good.
No airplane behind you.
It's out in the shed drying.
Yeah,
Getting
that's
the base
good.
coats painted on.
Yeah.
Where is my bucket? Get some mineral spirits. That ain't good. Seen that bucket. Oh, there it is right there. Any closer and it bit me. Yeah, Steve, hurry up, get in here. We're waiting on a flight report.
Did you get to fly today, Sparky?
2 flights.
Two
So,
flights.
yeah, I wasn't happy with the airplane I took out there. That's my old faithful, and it ain't like flying this airplane. It's rather lunky when you get to flying a light airplane. It's only 3 ounces difference, but I sure can tell. I added about an ounce of Gumby on the ounce of clay on the underneath the stabilizer to get it to turn. Man, I hope that shrinks up. It's right here. Got to have the Gumby. But it was good. I got to go out and visit with the guys, and I don't know, we stayed out there about 2-3 hours. Steve got four flights, and Mark got a couple. We didn't really do much flying, mostly bullshitting.
Yeah, that's what usually happens. You get out there.
Trying to trim Steve's airplane.
Did you finish making your molds, Sparky?
No. Nope, I'm not even gonna try to get that ready for Brodak. I gotta get me Brodak. I gotta take the carburetor off my generator, clean it. So I got electricity out there. I had to do the phone thing today, which took forever. Aggravated me to death.
What, cutting up foam wings or?
No, the phone. Telephone.
Oh, phone. Oh, phone, sorry.
Yeah.
You have to talk to somebody from India.
Yeah.
Actually, I was on hold most of the time, so no.
Uh,
Yeah. You can't understand them.
Hello, how may I help you? Well, when I switched to AT&T, the guy that I talked to wasn't much better on the phone. That's just the wave of the future.
yeah.
What kind of paint do they use on them Gulf Streams? Epoxy?
You know what? I have no idea because we're not using epoxy polyamide anymore. Um, the last one I did that we had at the shop there, I use Sherwin-Williams since they're one of my customers. And that sure,
Automotive paint?
no, Sherwin-Williams has an aircraft division.
Oh, really?
Yep, only a couple places to buy it. I went and ordered it. Was really happy with it.
It's made by Acme. Their paint is made by Acme. Every time I see that label, it reminds me of the Roadrunner.
Yeah, Sherwin-Williams has got like 5 jets. We do most of their engine work for them.
That's where I shop. I use ATX, and the paint I use is Sherman Williams, other than Randolph. If I want to make a custom color, that girl at Sherman Williams mixes the pigment for me, and I put it into A1690 clear for the binder, and I got whatever color dope I want. But Sherman
Mm,
Williams is great stuff.
yeah. Yeah, I figured if I didn't use their paint and they were one of my customers, that'd look pretty bad. They come over and say, "Hey, nice, painting the airplane, huh? Well, whose paint are you using?"
Well, Randolph makes some type of paint that's not dope. That's for full scale. I can't remember what they call it. In the military, we used epoxy though.
Yeah, that was good stuff.
Only thing I'm concerned about, they're going to be concerned about my age. They want these companies want some guy 40 years old with 90 years experience.
Yeah. Well, the Gulfstreams are a big aircraft, so it just really would just depend on what kind of stands and stuff do you have to work with. Whereas some of the other places like West Star and things like that, that they also, I believe they do painting. They also work on a lot of smaller ones. So it's one of those deals where you're either going to have to worry about getting something underneath it, or how do I get up that high?
No, I ain't worried about that. They don't, I'm just, first off, I ain't going to do nothing until after I get back from Brodex.
Yeah.
So, that's already planned. I'm not going to miss that even for a job. I have went into companies and said, I got to have this week in July off and this week in June, no matter what. You don't have to pay me, but I'm taking those weeks off. They usually give it to me.
It's John Miller. Howdy, John.
How y'all doing?
Pretty good.
Look at all who's here tonight. Pretty blue Viper there. Oh, Robert.
Yeah, I'm repairing it. I poked a hole in it.
Uh-oh. Could be worse. You could have broke it in half.
I need a sticker to put on it is what I need.
Yeah, it's too bad you can't get those old stickers for Pampa, Those round ones, it looks like it'd be about just the right size.
I got them, but those are clear, and that's not what I need. I need something that's white.
Well, they had some that they came out that they were white background on them. But I don't think too many of those are left. Well, guys, I had my 82nd birthday yesterday.
I was just going to
Oh.
say, happy birthday. I
Okay.
saw something.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much, guys. I didn't say
Yeah.
that for accolades. I said that just I can't believe it. Oh my goodness. Life has a way of catching up on you when you're not looking.
Well, you looked in pretty good shape after chasing that woman around today, right?
Which one?
All of them for
Uh,
being 82 years old. That's pretty good.
well, see, the key is I may chase him, but I just can't seem to catch him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what keeps me young and active,
Yeah.
Afraid if I caught one, I wouldn't know what to do anymore.
I'd be afraid that they would hurt me.
Yeah. Well, the ones that I've run into that seem somewhat interested, I'm old enough to be their dad, and I
Yeah.
try to figure out, are they interested in me or are they interested in that I might not be around for more 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
All you got to do is tell them I got no money and you ain't getting none. So
Yeah.
figure it
And I
out.
tell them, well, I already got my will made out and my daughter gets everything. So,
Yeah.
I was looking at airplanes that I need to repair. And the quickest, easiest one for me to get up and running is going to be my All-American Eagle, the one that's painted up in the Blue Angels livery.
Oh, that's the one you showed me the other night.
Yeah, yeah.
And actually, John. I am going to try the silk span on my open bays, and then put the monocoat on top of it. So I am going to
Yeah.
go for it.
Put the silk span on the entire thing. It makes the whole thing much stronger, and it doesn't. That little bit that's going to be on the sheeting and that's almost no weight at all.
Okay.
And
Well,
you're only
yeah.
putting on one or two thin coats of dope, so it's still porous.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it won't bag up.
I'll do the wing. I can only do the wing because I already done some monocoat on the fuselage because
That's
I had
all
to
right.
try to figure stuff out.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah.
You got your choice. I usually wind up painting the fuselage, on mine, and
Well,
then-
I'm trying to monocoat. I might have regretted it, but that's what I'm trying.
Monocoat can be done and be done very nicely on a fuselage, but it takes a little practice and a little time.
Yeah.
Bob will probably agree with me. Is that right, Bob?
What's that?
The monocoat can be done pretty nice on the fuselage, but it takes a little time and a little effort, a little planning and all that.
It's an art form, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and it's compound curves, so as much as I don't want to, I'm doing it in sections. So
That's one of the reasons why the silk span is so good,
yeah.
because it seems to stick to the silk span better than it does to the wooden framework.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I've always done fiberglass or silk and dope with the RC planes. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, and the nice thing is you don't get bubbles when you go over the silk span like that. The air goes through the silk span so you get a good solid adhesion to the soap
Yeah.
span, and it really strengthens a wing up. I mean, it really stiffens it up.
The best thing about that method is when you set your airplane out in the sun, it doesn't bag up.
That's right. It won't bag up. In fact, I've got that All-American Eagle is, see, I built that in 2000. I think I had it at 2004 or 2006 VSC. So that's about when I built it. And I haven't put an iron to it yet. Doesn't need it.
Yeah. And once again, you just said nitrate or butyrate for the.
It doesn't
The-
matter. I use butyrate all the time because just in case anything managed to get under I would like to have something that's a little resistant to the fuel.
Yeah.
So, I mean, nitrate adheres better, it's thicker and all of that, and it has some advantages, but you can use butyrate and do a good job with it.
Yeah. Well, being electric, it won't really matter then, as far as having to worry about fuel.
Do it any way you want then. Like if I was doing it electric, I got a lot of nitrate, a lot more nitrate than I have butyrate. So I'd be tempted to just use the nitrate, you know.
Yeah.
How's your twin coming along, Bob?
Hmm?
How's your twin coming along?
Which one? I got 3 of them on the board.
Oh my goodness. Oh
hope
my
I don't
goodness. Boy, when you jump in, you jump in.
I hope I don't get the parts mixed up.
You'll have a Franken twin.
Yeah, really.
See a nice guitar there in the background too.
It's a new Noel Gallagher signature Riviera.
Looks beautiful.
Like a Gibson 335.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I bought me a new thing for my music. Bought me a case that holds 48 harps.
Wow.
So now I can take all my special ones when I go play.
My Guardian Angel has a case that holds 48 harps.
Probably the same one made by Honer.
Nobody got that.
Okay, yeah, went right over my head. I'm thinking.
Jerry got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what can you tell us about your twins? Are they all basically the same model or same design or what?
Well, the twin. Well, I talked about it last time. I have one that's extremely high aspect ratio, kind of like what Dennis. Matter of fact, almost identical to what Dennis did. I always liked his Eclipse series of airplanes, and I liked where they flew. I flew them, and I thought a twin on a high aspect ratio would drive the airplane a little better through wind and turbulence. You know, because of this thrust on the two wings. So we're going to try it. I'm at a point in my life now where I don't have to build something for the Nationals. I can just go out and experiment. If it flies good, I can fly some local contests maybe. But so I can just have fun now.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense thinking about it. I mean, it might not make sense in real life, but thinking about it, it makes sense that a high aspect ratio driven as a twin engine plane would have some advantages.
We'll see. I mean, I don't know. I'm more of a throw some mud at the wall and see if it sticks kind of guy. I work more in emotion than I do on math. So
that looks about right. Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see if it works. And the other two are basically the same design. One's a foamer, and one's a fully sheeted built-up wing. And I showed the pictures last time. I don't want to.
Yeah. Okay.
On that, you know.
I missed the last 2 meetings, so.
Didn't you just have a birthday or something?
Yesterday I turned 82 years old.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Didn't think I'd make it this long. It's getting harder to chase women. We were talking about that earlier. And there's no hope of catching them anymore.
No.
Wouldn't know what to do with them if you did catch them.
I probably couldn't do anything if I even, yeah.
Well, it's just the thrill of the adventure to be able to still do that.
The thrill of the hunt, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I need to find me a sweet, loving, good-looking widow that's rich.
You don't want
Yeah.
you don't want much, do you?
Hey, if I can dream, I might as well dream it all, right?
How about it?
It
Exactly.
ain't gonna happen.
Wow. Yeah.
You know, and I'll probably be around 10 years or less anyway, so, you know, I'm certain that she'll most likely outlive me.
That's why they're looking for you. You're circling the drain.
Yeah.
Hey, John, just for you, I'll throw this up there. This is kind of the rough draw. This is the drawing of the airplane.
Oh, I like that.
That's in the cell drawing on the bottom there.
Yeah. What motors you can put on it?
2314 badasses.
Well, it almost reminds me of what a Tucano might look like if you'd put a jet engine in it.
Yeah, it kind of looks like one of them Viper jets or something, you know, that
Yeah.
a little bit.
It looks nice. I really like the lines.
Thanks. You know, it should be.
Yeah.
Got two fuse sides cut and doublers on. I'm ready to build the fuses. I got the wings are done. One of the tails is done. All the nacelle sides are done. I haven't built the crutches yet. And well, I do have one set of crutches built. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and I hope I don't mix up the parts.
Well, I hope you don't either, you know. But you know what I do when I cut the parts is I label them, put a piece of paper, label what it is, a piece of paper, throw it in a plastic bag, and I put all the parts for the stab and elevator in one bag, and you know, just I've got about 7 or 8 bags there with all the parts in them, listed like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I found if I was cut more than one, sometimes I had to try to figure out, does this go with that one or that one, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. This is I was showing this last week. See if I can get more than one thing to load into the buffer here. I don't know if I can or not.
Sounds like somebody's got an amp going.
Yeah, John, here's the fully sheeted built up wing under construction.
Oh, pretty. I'm surprised you didn't make that a Geo style wing, though.
Well, it's a fully sheeted wing. A Geo, you need to put the ribs closer together so you don't get the Star of Force look.
Okay.
Dennis told me no more than 1.6 inches. So these are about a little over 1.5, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, those ribs look really light.
Yeah, they are light.
They're just almost a strip rib, aren't they?
And then there it is with that's the one I just showed. Now I can show the other one. This is under
We
construction.
ain't seeing nothing yet anyway.
Yeah, we just got a black screen, that's all right now.
Oh, you didn't get it? Okay, hold on. I'll see if I can. Well, I've got to get back to where I am here.
You're probably in New Jersey?
I'm in No, I'm in Pennsylvania, actually. That's where
Pennsylvania.
Can't get there
Oh.
from here.
I'm a Pennsylvania guy.
Okay.
So there's the that's showing now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's the wing fully done with the tips on, and that plywood plate is what I build my crutches around. It's got the former stations, and I took a vernier and I measure the distance across, and then I use the vernier to cut the and a combination square to cut the formers, and I hold the sides are on the outside of that plywood piece, and all the formers fit in perfectly. I mean, you can build 20 fuselages and they all line up within about 3/1000 of an inch.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, it works good. Those are the cell sides up there, and that little thing there, that little airfoil piece. I take the rib from the wing set that's going to be right under the fuse side. I always put a rib there, and I make a duplicate of that, and I cover it with 16th inch balsa. So it's the exact shape of the wing where it will pass through the fuselage side.
Yep.
And I use
Yep.
that as a plug gauge with which to open the fuselage, dead accurate.
Yep. You've got the best system for analog or analog
It's a
construction.
system. It's a system, and it works all right.
Well, it is one of the best systems for that type of construction. The only thing different is like when I do it with a CAD system, I do that all in the CAD work,
Mhm.
which cuts down my labor a bit, but it's no more. It's not any more accurate than what you're doing, the way you're doing it.
I've been doing that for like 25 years.
Yeah, I know. I've been following you for all of that
Now, if I
time.
do a foam wing, I make a dummy panel or a template panel, the same exact shape as the panel on the wing, cover it with the same thickness sheeting, measure out from the center line to where the fuselage side is going to pass over the wing, put it in the cradle, put it in the bandsaw, and slice it, and I have a perfect shape. But that gives me an additional thing. If I make a full panel and cover it, then I have I call it a mandrel, on which to carve and sand the wingtips. So I don't have to do them on the actual wing. I do them on a dummy panel or a template panel.
Yeah, good
And they
idea.
fit right on the wing every time, perfect.
Yeah. No, you pretty well developed a style, a building that is pretty good, pretty accurate.
Everybody has their own, they come up with their own little tricks and techniques and templating and fixturing. Everybody's got their own process, and that's what it is. It's a process.
Well, as you well know, twins, it's so important to get everything aligned correctly.
Yeah.
If you got the thrust lines a little bit off, if you got, there's just so many things that are all interconnected, and that's why you jig it up so that
Yeah,
everything.
I learned early on that, my father told me, well, he was an automation engineer, and he said, if you have a problem and you can't solve it, he says, in your mind, look at it from 180 degrees out, to turn everything completely around. And 9 times out of 10, the answer is right there. So in the case of the twin, one of the critical things is mounting the nacelles. And I've been
Right.
figuring, how can I mount the nacelles to the wing? I've talked about this before. How can I mount the nacelles to the wing accurately to each other? And then it dawned on me, you don't mount the nacelles to the airplane. You mount the airplane to the nacelles. You put the nacelles on fixtures and that are oriented correctly to each other, and then you slide the airplane in and line it up. And that works every time.
Absolutely, absolutely. I learned that the hard way when Gordon and I built the first Pathfinder twins.
Mm-hmm.
Gordon watched me, glue mine on and that because I was building a little faster than he was, and I did it like I'd done all my models before. I measured and I had gauges on it and all that, but I didn't jig it up. And so what he did when he got to that point, looking at what I'd done, he jigged his all up and did exactly what you talked about. He mounted the airplane to the nacelles, and I take that. I mean, mine flew pretty good, but his was head and shoulders above mine.
This works every time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I like the way you got center lines on there for the fuse and your nacelles.
Yep. Works every time.
Yep.
Let's see, I might have another picture of how that's the airplane in place.
And you also, I'm sure you jig up your stab and elevator as well.
Oh yeah, I have a little fixture for that too. Actually, this shows this pretty well, I guess. Now you see, in this case, the ones out on the wing, those little fixtures on the wing. Again, if you have the rib to work from or a dummy panel to work from, you can make templates that fit on any part of the wing, and then you can put panel lines on them, put it down to a baseline. You can make sure you have the airplane dead square in pitch, and you line it up in yaw over datum lines, and you don't have a roll issue, obviously. and you just slide it into the nacelles, line it up over the denim lines, and glue it.
Yep, that's very effective, Bob. Very effective. I'm sure you do something very similar for the stab back there too.
Yeah, I have well, everybody's got their own way of putting stabs in for sure. I have stab fixtures that I use. Let me see if I can find a picture of them here.
Do you put the stab in aligned a little positive?
Do what now?
Do you align your stab to be a little positive?
Well, if anything, 1/100th of a degree positive. I mean, that sounds
It's
funny.
very little, but it's
Yeah, you can get away with a tiny bit of positive, as everybody knows, but you can't get away with any negative.
oh, absolutely.
It just will. You'll never get it to trim.
That's right. It'll be always do wonky things.
Yeah, let me see if I have a picture of what I'm sure I do here. I just got to find it. Yeah, here we go.
Ah, yes.
I jig the airplane up so that I
Oh,
put
that's adjustable.
yeah, it's fully adjustable. I'll see if I have a better picture of it. I have something that maybe show it a little better. Hold on a second.
I think the most important thing when building a competitive airplane is to do exactly what you're showing here.
There you go.
Get everything lined up and aligned correctly before you ever glue anything in.
Let me ask you this, Bob. When you're putting that stab on, you don't glue that stab in until after the turtle deck's on it, right?
I put the bottom shell on and it's rigid enough that I glue it in and then put the shell on top. And then you can always twist the fuselage once the shell's on top. You get, if you have any kind of, front view alignment issue, what I rarely do because that bottom shell holds everything pretty rigid. So that's how
I can see how that would work.
that works. Okay.
I like the way you've got the weights on there on the bottom,
Well, the first thing I do is this. I mean, I set the airplane up so that, of course, the top of the fuselage is parallel to the center line of the wing.
Gotcha.
Okay, so I put a metal piece across there, cold roll piece, and that's the Johnson angle finder has a magnetic bottom. And then you put that on there and you jig the fuselage from the rear. You put wedges in until you get that dead level.
Yep.
And then you go back and put the tail in and use that to get the tail level. That's how I do it. I mean, there's other ways of doing it, obviously.
And you've got the.
You guys who are watching it,
What's that?
Watching this on YouTube, that little yellow thing is called an inclinometer, and you can get it at Sears. Well, they don't have Sears no more, but
yeah, it's a Johnson angle finder, or angle locator, they call it. But yeah, it's inclinometer.
Harbor Freight sells them. They're cheap. They're like $7, and that's a good investment.
Oh man, that's it's irreplaceable for aligning for me for the way I do airplanes. And again, you see those things on the wing. It's a double check. It holds the wing, the center line of the wing parallel to the table, to the top of that foam. That foam is an extremely accurate piece of foam. It's 6 inches thick and it's 2-pound foam, which is very heavy. And you can draw on it and pin into it and do all kinds of things on it. It's an alignment, and it's inert, so it never moves with humidity or anything like wood can. So that stays dead flat all the time.
I'd like to find a piece of that around where I live. But
yeah, it's worth having. It really is worth having. Let's see if there's any other.
Where do you keep all that foam? That's the only thing I can't understand.
I have a big shed out in the back, big shed, and I keep both 1-pound and 2-pound foam out there. There's another picture that shows a little bit of this. And that holds the wing the center line of the wing dead parallel to the tabletop or the foam top.
Right.
So you have 2 or 3 things that agree, that the angle finder and if the wing this sets perfectly on the table, and the angle finder generally is right on the money when you do this. And then you just wedge at the back of the fuselage, and then you set that little fixture up to do the tail, and it works great.
Yeah, yeah. I use the incidence meters, which is basically it's just a different way of doing it with the same thing.
I've had trouble with incidence meters. I
Did you?
find they never go to the same place twice. Even if you don't move anything, you take it off, put it back on again, they're not the same.
Really?
The gimbals are not smooth enough, to my way of thinking.
Yeah.
I like this angle finder thing much better.
I think it could be much better than the incidence meter. I have something that a fellow here who is a very clever model builder, and he made us some little items that clip onto like your elevators and your flaps,
Mm-hmm.
and you can set 0 on them, and you can see how much deflection you're getting on
One versus the other, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I wish somebody was making those or something like that, because that's a good handy thing to.
Well, that'd be something you could draw up and make a little kit for.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I could do that.
Mhm.
Probably should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's your guy. You can get a flight report from Steve.
Hey, how'd it go, Steve?
It went fine. Had to do some trimming adjustments, but every flight it got better. Got two complete patterns in.
Okay, did the battery charging thing we talked about yesterday work out for you?
Worked perfectly, yes.
Yeah.
And those
Board,
batteries,
divides everything. So,
yeah. Yeah, those batteries are going down like to 15%.
That's a little low. And that's a full flight?
Yeah. On the other airplane, on the 4SL batteries on the Spectre, those are going down to 5%.
Wow. Are these like light ions? Well, you're usually like polys, right?
The regular Thunder.
Yeah, that's like polys. Yeah, you probably shouldn't take those down much under 25 to 20%, minimum left in them. The light ions you can run down a lot further safely. I'm switching over to light ions on almost everything now. All the twins are light ions.
Okay.
Steve has a flap problem. We were going to see if we could get you to cut him a new set of flaps.
Sure. What do you need?
Crossfire flaps.
Okay, I can do that.
Both of them.
Can do.
Yeah, I warped the flaps pretty bad, I guess. When I was doing the initial doping.
Actually, I don't think so. I think what happened, because if you look at it, the wood grain, it's not a warp, it's a twist. I don't even think I get it out with steam. It's the grain is running from at an angle to between the leading and trailing edges of it.
You sheeted that wing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. When you make up your skins, you want your skins on the wing to run parallel to the leading edge all the way back to the hinge line, and then you want the grain to run parallel to the hinge line on the flaps and swept forward wing. You want to you have the grain running one way on the wing and running straight out the flap. You never want to put sheeting over a flap in an angle in a bias. It'll twist. You got to have the grain running straight out the flap, not across the flap.
That's probably what happened. Yeah.
Yeah. When you make up your skins, you find the section you're going to cut out for the framing to put the trailing edge of the wing in and the leading edge of the flap, and that's where you shift the direction of the grain of the wood. You look like you're confused.
Yeah, because I think
But then again, you always look confused. So
they were all parallel
to the leading edge of the wing.
To the leading edge of the wing. Yeah.
Yeah, can't do that. Can't do that.
See, what happened was we sheeted the whole thing and then cut the flaps out.
That's what I do too. But when I make the skin up so that the the change in direction of the grain is right over the section you're going to take out to put in the trailing edge of the wing and the leading edge of the flap, where that whole section is going to be cut out. That's where I change the grain direction.
Mm. Yeah, I didn't know any better.
Well, I didn't either.
I'll
So
cut and cover you a set of crossfire flaps.
they're right to the plans too. I mean,
Yeah, but the motor's doing fine. I had it. I started out. It's a 12. Got a 12.6 prop on it. A badass prop. 28, 26 badass motor. 28, 26, 820 with the 5-cell
2800.
2200.
2800.
2800. And it started off at 9500 RPM. It was too fast. So I'm down to like 9250 or so.
Have you tried maybe a five pitch prop on it?
No, I was afraid if I put a 5-pitch prop, it would use even more battery because I'd have to bump the RPM up.
but it's not loading the motor.
It's not loading the motor as much, yeah. I would try that. I'm running
Okay.
I run a 12. No, excuse me. I'm running an 11.5 Cox Ressinger prop on the one I flew all those years. It worked great. I like small diameter props as small as I can get away with because it has less spiral airflow and less it has less spiral airflow effect on the airplane. The smaller prop you get away with, the better off you are if you can get away with it. That's one of the reasons I like twins, because I can run two separate props and turn them in opposite directions and negate all of the problems.
So I could go down to an 11-inch prop.
3-blade.
Oh, 3-blade. Yeah, that I know got.
I might know somebody that has one of those.
Okay.
And I lightened them too. They come from Cox, Ressinger Cox makes them, Al Ressinger and Chris Cox. And you can take a tremendous amount of material off of them and lighten them up, because you really want them to be light, because with the electric system, with the active timer, you want to be able to accelerate and decelerate the prop, and it has to be a light prop in order to do that.
He doesn't have an active timer. He's got a Will Hubin timer.
Oh, okay. Well, put an active timer in.
But it looked all right. I mean, it has a few trimming problems. The twisted flap, all I did was compensate for it. I tweaked the flaps and tweaked the elevators to get it to quit hunting, and we're going to have to steam that rudder. He's put too much paint on one side of the rudder, and he's got inset rudder.
That's not good.
No, that was not good.
Avoid that.
It doesn't really affect it much, really. Stays out there.
I think it was affecting it on the outside, outside side of the horizontal 8.
Are you running a reverse pitch prop or a standard pitch?
Standard.
All right. One of the things you can do to give yourself a little more tension is run a reverse pitch. Because if you think about it, the spiral airflow, again, on a standard pitch prop, spiral airflow will hit the bottom of the inside wing, hit the top of the outside wing, go around the fuselage, hit the bottom of the inside stab, hit the top of the outside stab. But moreover, it's hitting the left side of the vertical fin, which has most of its area above the vertical center of gravity. So it's acting like a weather vane, because you have all that area back there and your balance point is much further forward. If you put pressure outward on the left side of the fin, it's going to push the nose in. So it'll give you a left yaw component, but at the same time, because you have more area above the vertical center of gravity, it's giving you a right roll component too. So you're getting a left yaw right roll with a standard pitch prop with the spiral airflow. Now, if you go the other way, it's pushing the fin towards the pilot, pushing the nose away from the pilot. But you're still getting the roll component. If you have more, that's one thing I don't like about the Crossfire, is it has a vertical fin area a little too high. It looks cool, but I had to kind of compensate for that. It's another reason I like the twins. All that goes away.
Yeah.
Goes away.
Well, Yeah, so I'm pretty, right now I'm pretty satisfied. It's better than anything else I have at this point.
You'll find it'll turn real easy in the wind too because of the swept forward trailing edge. It'll turn real easy.
Okay. It didn't have much wind today, although it was picking up.
Boy,
More
that's something that
gusty
hasn't been
than
said by stunt flyers in a while. Not much wind today.
well, it was more gusty than
It was buffeting pretty good.
yeah.
Man, it's been windy.
It's
Oh
just
yeah,
like funnel
everywhere.
clouds out there. That's
Everybody's complaining about that.
all them funnel clouds.
Except maybe Cha Cha. I don't know what's going on in Trinidad.
Lots of rain.
Yeah.
Lots of rain, yeah. Well, we've had
And
that too.
Lots
Yeah, in
of
fact, the
Ready
next
for the
5
flying.
days are going to be rain.
correct. No opportunity to fly. Probably I'll have to wait until the showers are done to get some flying in.
Yeah, yeah. It's been a bad spring, I think, for anybody I've talked to. Everybody I've talked to. Across
On the other
country.
side of the coin, if you're living in Trinidad, even if it's windy, it's still pretty good.
Don't worry. Be happy.
There's plenty of stuff to
Oh
do.
wow! Good to see you, Cha Cha.
Yes, I'm excited about the Nats.
Oh, you're going to the Nats
Of course.
Hey,
in the
cool.
U.S.?
Yeah.
All right,
Hey,
great.
Outstanding.
We'll see you there. Looks like Mark Gerber snuck in too.
And we get a Bearcat report.
Yep, we get a Bearcat report.
Mark, are you
Okay.
going to the Nationals, Mark?
What's that, Bob?
Are you going to the Nationals?
Yes.
Are you flying?
In the Classic, I am going to try to fly.
Oh, yeah?
I'll be judged the rest of the week.
Oh, you got a judge. Okay. I was going to ask if
Yeah.
you're going to be appearance point judge.
Not that I know of.
No, if you judge in the main event, you can't do that.
Anyway, I got
I can
some.
help you, Bob. I'm gonna fly N30, but I'm not entering the Nats.
I'll take that in consideration, man. I'm hoping I actually have feelers out to several people. If they call back, one of them is Dave Gerke. He may be one of the judges, and we're hoping to get Les McDonald, so I don't even have to go. I can stay home. I promised John Hill I'd find judges.
What do we got here, Mark?
So I'm working on the back end now. Got the wing fixed. So here's the part that I'm not going to take off.
So this is what's left after you took off all the broken and crushed pieces.
Well, there's still some more trimming I'm doing down here to get rid of this stuff, but
And you got the second mold done now.
the bottom shell is in good shape. It wasn't damaged, so
That's good.
gives me something to use as a reference.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the molds done. I molded the 2 side pieces
Wow.
this week. 3 attempts to get 2.
Wow.
And here's how they fit together in the back.
Uh,
And then I made some little triangle flanges to give me something to glue to. I didn't want to butt
Mhm.
glue the sides onto the bulkhead.
Mm-hmm.
So I glued those here on the back bulkhead.
Mm-hmm.
So now, right now, I'm notching out the bottom part here. And then I made the pieces oversized by about 1/2 inch in all directions, and I'll start trimming them down
Mm-hmm.
so they fit pretty snugly here before I try to glue them in. So that's where I am.
You're a glutton for punishment.
so you'll be flying it next week, right?
Yeah, right. And then you're talking about the wind. I just sent an email to Lynn Boss. He's got a fly-in tomorrow down east of Denver, and I was going to go down, but the forecast is for like 10, 15 mile an hour wind.
Mm.
And
Oh, just a light spring breeze.
Yeah.
Well, there's also a pretty good probability of rain too. So
Well, you
Oh,
get your
man.
airplane washed too then.
the crappy weather continues.
It's bright and sunny over here on the other side of the mountains. But it's been a little windy, so but we had a little rain a couple of days ago and then nothing, some low clouds in the morning yesterday, but it's beautiful weather. I wish I had an RC sailplane. I'd be out flying that right now.
Yeah.
You go outside, you look out over where the dry lake bed is, you can see the air shimmering, you know.
Hmm.
We got any chat, Steve?
Anyway,
Let's see. Jeff's Train World. Hey everyone, what's up tonight? Beside my computer hanging up, always does. I got rid of my landline. Now spammers are hitting my cell phone.
Of course.
naturally.
Edward Carlaw sent a like, and Brent Williams said, "Howdy, y'all."
Howdy, Brent. Spoke to him on the phone earlier.
Have you been using that Hiya, Steve?
What's that?
That Hiya, that app that I sent to you?
No, I haven't done that yet. I need to.
That's what Brent Williams needs is Hiya.
Yeah, yeah. Jeff's Train World.
Okay, Jeff's Train Rule.
Yeah, he's the one that says the spammers are hitting his cell phone. See, I
So-
just don't answer a call if I don't recognize the number or if they're not in my contacts.
Yeah,
I want
because
to
it's
play
somebody
somebody
that-
yesterday.
If somebody really wants to talk to me, they'll leave a message.
Do you think Brett Williams is on there?
What's that?
Brett Williams is on?
He's watching apparently.
Brett,
It says, "Howdy, y'all."
here's your thumb drive, Brett. It goes out tomorrow. Just one.
There you go.
There you go. Brent asked me if I was still doing that offer for my library of photos, and there's 5,304 photos, and anybody that sends me a 4 gig thumb drive, I'll return postage and everything. I'll do it for free and send you back 5,304 photos.
Wow. How'd you have time to fly?
I don't have any weather to fly. It's so windy and rainy.
I got 66,606 files.
Really? The ones I sent you?
Unless I combined them with something else that was already there from you.
Because I just did Brent's today and it said copying 5,304, and I just assumed that's what was on there. Maybe there's more. It's a lot.
Yeah, you got a bunch of folders in there.
Yep.
75 team trials, 80 world champs, 2013 team trials.
There's a lot of construction stuff in there too. Most of it's construction stuff.
Yeah, you got Al Raby. Or did I combine?
Yeah, there's a lot of folders.
Yeah.
I figure I don't want those photos to die with me. So, I want to get them out there. They belong to the community. But I want to go back for a minute to that thing about the spiral airflow.
Yeah.
You ever notice with the standard pitch prop, when you're flying a dead calm and you hit your own turbulence, what happens?
Usually something bad.
Which way does the
Depends
airplane
where you
roll?
are.
Which way does the airplane roll?
I would think toward you.
Or it rolls towards you.
Yeah.
Put it
so
in
you
reverse
lose line
pitch prop
tension.
and you hit your own turbulence, it rolls away from you. Because of the pressure on that fin.
So you don't have that problem on a Genesis because there is no fin.
Well, it's kind of hidden, actually. There is a fin, but it's not real high, It's there. But you know, the thing will roll the opposite direction with the reverse pitch prop. It rolls away from you.
Hmm.
So you know, you might mess up the maneuver, but you're not going to knife the airplane into the ground. A lot of airplanes have been lost that way, flying in dead combat, as everybody knows. You know.
Yep. Yep. I saw it happen to. Oh shoot! Now I can't think of his name. From Kentucky.
Oh, yeah, I know you're talking about
Beautiful airplanes.
Charlie Reeves.
No.
No. Jim Lynch. Oh, he's from
No.
Tennessee.
Younger guy.
Robertson.
No, that's not it either.
Wow, then I don't know.
Bob, help me out here.
Jim Lynch?
No, he was already mentioned. This younger guy, I thought he was from Kentucky. Flies a SV kind of plane, usually a somewhat translucent finish.
Oh, Kenny Stevens.
Kenny Stevens, that's it. Yeah, I saw him go in on Circle 1.
He builds beautiful airplanes.
Yeah.
Good flyer too.
Yeah, that made me sick, seeing that beautiful airplane get I mean, it was worse than re-kitted.
We'll give that a try though sometime. You know, put the reverse pitch prop on and see if you don't like it better, especially in calm.
It's never calm here. Right, Bob? It's never calm at Booter.
No.
I don't think we'll ever see calm again.
Oh, man. Don't fall asleep on us,
the worst
Carl.
spring ever for wind here. And every day has been 12 to 14, 15, 18, 20 mile an hour winds.
It's talk to folks across the country, and it's like that just about everywhere.
Yeah, it's bad. We just had some really bad news today for our club. I belong to an RC club. I'm the secretary of an RC club, but they have a control line site there for me. And it's really nice. It's out in the middle of a farmer's field, and there's no trees around or anything. It's really nice. But our landlord, who owns the farm, had a very bad, serious accident. He's in coma.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they airlift him out. A piece of farm equipment got him. I don't know exactly what it did, but they said his whole upper body and his head is all damaged. And he's, you know, keep me in your prayers, guys. Jeff Setzer, he's a really nice guy, very good to us. And he really got beat up bad, apparently.
Wow.
That farm equipment can eat you up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like Stewart's trying to come in, but
whatever happened to the other Steve Smith? I never see him anymore.
Oh, he caught the fishing bug. Bass fishing. I've talked to his cousin, and he's like all in on bass fishing.
Does anybody have his number, or can they contact him? He has my line wrapping device. I'd like to get that back. He wanted to measure it up so his brother or brother-in-law could make them, and I'd like to get that back. I want to make some lines up.
Oh, okay, yeah. I can contact him. I'll contact
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's not a big deal. I mean, I told him there was no rush on it, but I figured it wouldn't take him that long, you know.
Well, he's the kind of guy that he gets into something, he's in it 110% to the exclusion of everything else.
He's probably modified it to make lures.
Maybe.
Leaders.
Yeah, man. Is there a hockey game on tonight? Or is that over?
Well,
He's really into
it's hard
hockey.
to tell.
Not over, but I don't follow hockey, and there's no the Colorado team's not playing anymore.
Yeah.
There's a fight on tonight, so it might be a hockey game. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's an old joke. Went to the fights and a hockey game
broke out.
Sparky is coming in.
Yeah.
Edmonton versus Dallas.
Thanks, Marky.
Yeah.
Long time no see.
What are you doing? Coming in on your phone?
He's
Yeah.
he's schizophrenic.
Yeah, man.
There we are.
Oh, look at this. We got stereo Sparky.
Yeah, now we get stereo,
Yeah.
distorted stereo.
Stereo Sparky.
Oh, okay. Stewart says Edmonton versus Dallas, so they are still playing.
That's funny. My Yankees are doing good.
Oh, yeah?
There we go.
Beating up on our poor Colorado Rockies.
Beating up with everybody.
Rockies just set the record for the most losses in the first 50 games.
They got what,
Oh,
9
no.
wins and 39 losses or something.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm just giving this a try to see if I can stream with this from Brodex, and it looks pretty good. Couldn't do that on the other phone.
Oh, okay. You didn't get your new
You didn't hear what happened or what?
you didn't get your new modem yet.
Yeah, it's right here.
Oh, you did get it.
I changed carriers on the way home.
Oh, so you went away from T-Mobile
Well, it was Verizon. I'm
or
on
Verizon?
AT&T now.
Oh, okay.
How you doing, Roy?
Doing good.
Still running the Foxes set you?
Yeah, I'm trying to. Today was the best day to fly in a long time, but I was tied up doing something else.
It's been
Isn't
windy
that the way it goes?
What's that?
Has it been windy there too?
Yeah, it's either windy or raining, or both.
Same thing.
Same story.
I think I showed this map one other time, but it's kind of germane right now with the discussion of the wind. This is a map that the National Renewable Energy Laboratory here in Colorado put together, showing the average wind in any location in the country.
Wow.
And they did it for the purpose of, finding good sites for windmills, wind turbines, because the power output of a wind turbine is a cube of the wind speed.
Wow.
So a few more miles an hour of average wind speed can help you a lot in the kilowatt hours you get. But the moral of the story here is, the Southeast guys have it the best.
Do they use reverse pitch props?
I don't know.
The best explanation I've seen on windmills comes from the series Landman. Watch that. It explains the windmills perfectly.
Anyway, the dark blue areas are not places you want to try to fly stunt very much.
And the
Mostly
east
the
coast
mountainous
the
areas
east coast
here in
of
the-
Pennsylvania there, right in the nose where that nose of the Jersey guy is.
Yeah.
What's the a little higher up? Yeah. Right, a little higher to the right. Right there's where I live, right there. What's the wind there?
Well, you're in a
That's the
What,
hoot
you-
zone.
yellow light green, so this is in meters per second, so it's 3 to 3.9, which is like not much.
That's the average wind. Well, that thing's wrong, that's for sure.
Well, look what they got for Missouri. They don't have much wind there, and that's wrong. We got tornadoes and shit here.
Well, the tornado just happens for a short time. This is the whole year average,
Is that night and day, right? That's the 24 hours?
I presume.
Yeah, okay.
Look at Indiana. It's not showing much wind there, but
Well, no, look at this darker green area here.
Where
I think
Muncie is.
I think Muncie's
Right there.
in that.
Mm. Mhm.
And that same dark green colors out here in where there's tons of windmills in Kansas and Texas and
A lot of dead birds too.
Iowa.
So what you're saying is they should have picked Alabama or Mississippi as a site, or even top
Yeah, I mean, it
Northern
would've-
Georgia.
if you didn't want to have a really windy spot on average, the southeast is where you go,
Mhm.
or maybe Louisiana or Arkansas over here. But even out west, California's not bad in the Upper Valley here.
Mhm.
Well, in the LA area too, is where the winds are there around LA. That's in the mountains.
where
Uh,
Santa Ana's come in.
anywhere you're
Yeah.
along the coast is usually not real good. It's pretty windy.
Yeah.
So you look at Utah, you see that blue line that goes right through the G in Utah or the A in Utah. Yeah, you got your hand on it. That's
Yeah.
the I-15 corridor.
Yeah,
And
mountainous
we're
in
right
that area.
about where the U is. You know, and you can see we got wind right there. We're known for wind.
And you can see how much it can change just a short distance, and usually
Yeah.
that's due to elevation. That mountains are usually a lot
Probably
windier.
blanketing from the
Yeah,
mountain.
that's where the highest mountain in the state is, where you were there up there in that corner.
Yeah. So anyway, it would have been nice if AMA had looked at this before they.
Well, I think the guy that was spearheading it was from Ohio.
I don't remember anymore. I just remember they decided to get out of Washington and move to Indiana.
All we
Yeah,
had
they
to do is move down to Kentucky. Look at how nice it is down in Kentucky.
Yeah,
Mhm.
not bad.
I bet they didn't have this map then.
Probably not.
That's interesting.
Anyway, there's more of these around if you dig around in Google, but
Hmm.
I got involved in a wind energy project many, many years ago at MIT, and I started to become aware that such maps existed.
Huh.
And they've done a whole lot more since then. So
Huh. That's good.
Interesting. We didn't look to see if Trinidad was on there.
No, we didn't.
It's like a dark blue, right?
Yeah, one little spot that runs in a circle.
That's funny. You got a good place to fly down there, Christian?
We have the Queen's Park Savannah, which is large enough.
Mhm.
The problem with there is that you have a lot of shifting of the wind.
Yeah.
So we make it work.
and you get a few hurricanes every summer, right?
Well, we are fortunate that the hurricanes don't really affect Trinidad. They seem
Really?
to stay off
Stay
and
north.
affect the higher Caribbean. Yeah, we are the last island in the chain, Caribbean island chain.
You're close to the South American continent, then, aren't you?
Correct.
Yeah. What was it, Venezuela? You're close to?
Venezuela. Yeah.
Yeah. On a clear day, you can see Venezuela. I understand.
Yeah. You can.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. The hurricanes usually are quite a bit further north from where you
Yes.
guys are at, like cutting through Haiti and Cuba.
yeah,
To
like
that.
Grenada, Barbados has been affected. We just get the outskirts of the bad weather. Yeah, but pretty fine so far.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get a circle built on our radio control site, but we have some work to do. The part where I usually fly profiles there, you have to kind of practice carrier landing because it's not exactly level. I'd probably use the radio control runway to take off. And when I land, I'll try to aim to land on the runway or just before the runway.
Just go steal your neighbor's gate, chain link fence, and tie it behind your car and drag it around in a circle.
Flatten it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
put some railroad ties on there, running crosswise on it, so that
The the it's a actual drainage area that has it uneven. Not that it is.
Ain't good.
Yeah, so let me see if I can explain to you.
takes what you can get.
Uh,
When all those guys came down there back in the 70s to fly that demo, where did they fly?
the the so back in World War II, the Western Peninsula was given to the British and the US. So it was a naval air station.
And that's where they flew?
Yes.
Yeah. That's what Les McDonald and Werwidge and Jim Martin and all those guys came down. Yeah.
Correct.
I was supposed to come down on that, but I couldn't do it. So.
Yeah.
You don't have any mall parking lots or supermarket parking lots?
No. No, but we have a fairly big savanna. Let me show you.
How about the beach? To fly on the beach?
No. Trinidad.
It bothers the nude bathers,
You all seen?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Look,
you are
there's a
close to
circle
one.
up on that right island already.
Tobago.
The circle on the right island. Oh, wow.
So this is our savanna. It's in the heart of the capital, so there's a lot of land. I usually take the kids to fly here, but there's so much space that, another activity could be going on and it wouldn't interfere with
That looks
what you're
good.
doing. Yeah, but this is our northern range here. So you get sometimes, and then the sea is here. So you get winds coming from the
Yeah.
south, sometimes wind coming from the north, and we have predominantly northeast trade winds.
Right.
So, and I live here. So sometimes I use this field here, and it's the same problem because it's in a valley, mountain here, sea here,
So it channels right through you.
right? Our airfield
I didn't
is,
realize you had that many houses there. My goodness.
yeah. So this is our airfield. It was built. So I don't know if you could see it well. It was intended to be a horse
It says
racing.
RC Field there.
Yeah, so this you see in the oval, it started off as a horse racing track, and they did
Oh,
not
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Racetrack, yeah.
but it's kind of swampy in some areas. So this is our airfield. This is our runway. So I usually fly here. But there's a
Yeah, I see that ditch. You gotta,
yeah, correct.
And you got that little strip of land between the ditch and the RC runway to land in.
Correct. Yes.
Oh, you're good.
So I would basically attempt to bring the airplane down here.
The
So I
operative
would
word there
take
is
off.
attempt. Yeah, attempt.
I will take off here and then step back here so that the flight path.
It's like the opposite of Las Vegas. In Las Vegas, you've got about 80% of pavement and then 20% of grass on the one side. You got to stay away from that.
Wow.
And here
So
you
one
got
of
the reverse situation where you got a little bit of pavement and lots of grass.
yeah, I want to develop probably an area here
Yeah.
because the people use here to come into the airfield. So sometimes they wait until I finish fly or have to fly high.
Wow.
You're a dedicated guy.
Yeah. Yeah. So Yeah, so
Wow.
You
so you
always
have,
build yourself some combat wings and not worry about where you land.
but I usually fly profiles there, so you know they take a little more of a beating just in case, as opposed to built ups.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Wow.
and may reduce the size of the the airplane that I fly. But I usually fly 46s.
Go over to the right. Pull
Yeah,
the
go
hose.
straight to the right. It looks like there's a
Yeah, there's
right
a
there.
circle right there. What's that? No, go
Yeah.
to the right.
There's archery
Across the
something.
highway.
Yeah,
Across the highway.
Across the
To the
southern
east.
main road there.
There
Right.
it is, right there. Now zoom in on
there.
that.
This
It's
is
Walker
Walker
Park.
Park.
Right. So fun fact, guys back in the 60s used to fly control line here. This is just a park, but it's currently used by the archery club. So they just all this is
You don't want to argue with them.
this is high bush here, right? And they just cleared the area so that they could do the archery. So
Right.
it's not well maintained.
Mm.
And how about the square? What's that?
Which square?
Behind
The
it.
square,
Yeah, right there.
more bush.
More bushes, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah, could you develop that?
possibly. But the thing about it is this site here has a lot of potential. I mean, we just really need to
Yeah.
find a spot and just clear it, level it, and put a
Yeah,
circle.
you'd be best off to do it on the side that you got your marker on that. I
Who
guess
owns
that
that
would be the
land?
north side of that ditch. So you're
Yeah,
behind the flying line for the RC guys. So they can overfly to the south and you not be competing with them.
yeah, because they fly in this area. They don't fly to the north. So they
Right.
Right.
fly this area. So here is ideal for me, basically.
And you're not allowed to fly behind the flight line.
Yeah, because there's here's a drainage area for the said former racetrack. Here's a drainage area too. So it's a bit swampy. So even if I take this section, it'll have to be filled at least 200 feet square,
Yeah.
Who owns the land, Chacha? Is it this park
Government,
or
the government.
okay?
So we have a lease with the government to use here.
Well, you ain't
And
gonna get them to help you do anything then.
well, I mean, we have been pretty self-sufficient, that container there has maintenance equipment for the field, so we do all this cutting. We just invested in a radio control mower,
Oh, nice.
a serious beast that works better than our tractor. You could just literally sit under the shed and operate it, and it could, so it's doing a lot of work to clear the area,
Yeah.
You have solar panels for current and different things like that, because there's no active power source to the location, so we have to be creative. And this is a little better than what we had before, because we used to fly at an abandoned US airfield to the east of Trinidad called Wallerfield. It is used as a drag racing strip. Well, the south runway, which is this runway here, and we fly on this runway here. But they decided to develop the area for other stuff, so we had to move from here. This was one of the largest airfields in World War II at a point in time as well. It was part of a army base called Fort Reed. So there will be 24s, B-25s, B-17s.
Wow.
Yeah.
By the looks of this, you don't have any real nice clear fields to fly in, do you?
Well,
Nice
only
grass, short.
only Savannah, and then the kids that I teach, they have a nice school feel here.
Well, yeah, fly off the track right there.
Where is it? Where is it?
Down, go down.
Right here. So
No, go down. Pull it up some more. Right there, the blue circle right there.
Oh,
That's
this is
the stadium.
the
Oh,
stadium. No,
And
the
you don't want to
stadium.
fly in the stadium.
Yeah, this
I
is the
can tell you from
stadium.
experience, you don't want to fly in the stadium.
Stadium. But the school that I teach the kids, this is their school and this is their field. So we fly here as well once they have no activity. And we have
I've
How,
had
how wide across is that? Enough to get a
The soccer field or what?
140-foot circle?
where? Here?
That
No,
rectangular grass patch you were talking about, is
This
that a soccer field or what?
is, and this is not usually here. What you're seeing here is a Google snap of an event happening on the field at the point in time. So this is usually clear. And once we are flying, we're the only people there. No interruptions.
What are the dimensions, width and length?
I can't say, but you could safely
300 foot by
have 2 or
200.
3 people flying 60-foot lines. They're comfortable.
So it's almost about 4 acres.
Yeah.
That should be plenty to fly 2-3 circles on.
Funny enough, this same property here, between here and here, used to be an airfield back in between World War One and World War Two.
Oh,
A
really?
gas field, but they just never developed it. We had a lot of airfields in Trinidad to support the war efforts.
Yeah.
What, the Germans?
Well, the Germans had a lot of subs they were running.
Hunting German
Yeah,
submarines.
so we had a lot of German submarines. So on the west coast, we had a lot of lookout towers. And then in a place called Carson Field, we had blimp mats to do the surveillance. But a lot of people use the opportunity to build over the area because the Americans would have built the runways out of concrete. So you could barely see a rectangle here. This is one runway.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's another runway to the south here. You barely see the rectangle anymore.
Yeah.
And a guy has a scrapyard here on which would have been the foundation for the blimp hangar.
Zeppelin hangar.
Then the Americans built another satellite runway in a place called Camden, but it's used as a airfield for the flight school. And it used to support, we had sugarcane back in the days. So crop dusters used to operate.
It's interesting.
You don't have many farms there, do you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we were heavy into sugarcane, so most of the central part of Trinidad was sugarcane. We have a lot of farming going on. So this is the University of Trinidad and Tobago, the aviation campus. There's a flight school here.
Well,
Flying
there's a good spot to
Diamonds.
fly
There's a
then.
flight school here, flying Cessnas. And this is our national helicopter service supporting the oil fields because our main export is oil and gas. We have the largest natural deposit of asphalt in the world. From something called the Pitch Lake.
Yeah.
So this is where most of the world's pitch comes from. Yeah.
Oh, it's just bubbling out of the ground.
Yes. Right here.
We have a place like that in California.
La Brea.
La Brea tar pits. We lots and lots of mastodons and saber-toothed tigers and other extinct animals have been brought out of that.
Doesn't that make you wonder? Because I've been there, I've seen them, they're stuck in there. If that shit that's coming out of the ground is supposed to be fossil fuel, how come the dinosaurs were there before it and stuck in it?
Some people have challenged the idea that that's a fossil fuel like that.
Oh, it's renewable. The Earth is spewing it. It's making it.
Right.
That was interesting, Christian.
It was. Got a chance to take a trip to Trinidad.
Well, we could probably plan something so you could have an opportunity to taste some local cuisine, some doubles,
Oh, don't
go for
take
that.
me there. Oh no, don't take me there.
roti.
Tell you what, you have a big
Keep
contest.
talking. You could
there.
talk me into that.
If we all come down, can we stay with you?
Sure.
Just leave your planes when you leave.
Trinidad is such a melting pot because we were under different rule over the years. So we were under British rule, Spanish rule. And then we had a lot of immigrants. So you find that everyone's culture just kind of merged.
Yeah.
We have like a street food called doubles where you have chickpeas or chana in 2 wraps. They call it bara. So you eat it with your hand. And then you could add like cucumber, sweet sauce, pepper sauce. And it tastes really good.
Sounds good.
Roti, which is an East Indian delicacy. Thank you. An East Indian delicacy. Yeah, I'll check it just now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we're starting to understand why your chief export is natural gas.
Oh man.
Oh man.
That was funny.
Oh.
That was funny. So we have roti, and then we have a lot of Chinese. So you have the Cantonese cooking, and then we have a lot of Creole food or local food. So we have a lot of things to try. And then everybody has a place in Trinidad. So like you could get like, American type food, your typical continental breakfast. Then you
McDonald's.
What's that?
McDonald's.
We have McDonald's, we have Wendy's, we have
Taco
Domino's,
Bell.
we have Pizza Hut, we have DQ, we have most
Taco
of
Bell?
those Starbucks, we have
Oh, they got a Starbucks. We can make it.
we have the KFC that sells the most chicken in the world and the best KFC in the world. Most people would never eat KFC in America.
Eat what?
KFC.
Sells
KFC.
the most chicken in the world.
You have Chick-fil-A? Chick-fil-A?
No, we don't.
No.
Yes.
Carl's Jr.?
No.
Oh.
We have, I think we have Little Caesars, Domino's, from Pizza Hut. Then we have McDonald's, Burger King, Starbucks, Popeyes, Wendy's, Churches.
Yeah, I think if I went to Trinidad, I wouldn't be going to McDonald's.
No, most people won't, but we have those franchises because if you come to Trinidad, you want to be able to go to like Maracas Bay and have a bacon shack. You want to partake in the doubles, the roti. You want to be able to go to the sister island and go on the Buku Reef on a glass bottom boat. You want to do those things,
I want to wear a white linen suit and a Panama hat.
How's the fishing down there?
Yeah, there's a lot of fishing going on. A lot of people fish to supply people, and then some people do it as a like a sport.
Yeah.
Marlin and different types of fish.
Wow.
Do you have a Jack in the Box?
What is a Jack in the Box?
That was a
hamburger chain here.
If you got McDonald's, you gotta have a Jack in the Box, right?
No.
We don't have those on the East Coast either.
Oh.
Yeah, we do.
I just had to ask.
Okay.
Yeah, we do.
But the East Coast
Sharp.
we might be getting In-N-Out Burger because I understand they're moving their headquarters to Tennessee, so maybe they're going to come to the East Coast. They're really good, Christian.
They are good.
In-N-Out burgers are probably some of the best.
You know what's the best at Jack in the Box? Their tacos.
Yeah,
They're cheap and they're greasy. They're
Oh,
really,
yeah.
Cheap and greasy.
Grease.
they taste
Hey, it looks
great.
like Stuart finally got his camera going.
Hey, Stuart.
Right.
Cheap
Yeah.
and greasy. That sounds like most of us.
I've been watching the hockey.
Yeah.
Some of you guys on the side. So I got their intermission now. So
Oh,
Was it hockey?
yeah.
Well, that's where the other Steve Smith is in.
either that or he's at the whatever the wherever they're fishing. He might be there for the weekend, and they may not have signal there. I don't know.
This is
They
the
finish
second.
in, does he fish in tournaments?
Don't know.
I don't know. I haven't talked to him about it.
This is his second year for his front row ringmaster.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah, that all came to a grinding halt.
A quick build 576. Well, I should talk because I ended up selling mine to John Paris, but quick build 576 ringmaster, 2 years.
Hmm.
Steve, if you get a chance, send me his phone number. I'll give him a call.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, just email that to me, you know.
Oh, I was supposed to.
I did send him a text.
Oh, okay.
Tried to get him to come on the hangout. Told him you were wanting your line wrapping jig back.
Yeah, no, I didn't tell him it was a timeline, but now I'm kind of needing it. So
Yeah.
he didn't do anything wrong. He just
No, I
Yeah.
think I have a feeling that wherever they are is out. He doesn't have signal because he has not responded. So
yeah,
I'll send you
right.
his phone number.
No big deal.
Oh,
I did send you a picture of my crossfire.
Oh, okay. Email
Before
that to me.
I did.
Check that.
I gotta get mine
Oh, wow,
painted
it
so I
looks
can
nice.
send Bob a copy.
That's pretty.
Well, it's a 20-footer. Don't look too close. Well, in the picture you can't.
That's nice though. I'll get you new flaps for it though.
Yeah, I definitely screwed them up.
The next one will be better.
All right.
That's pretty.
I just, it kept it simple. And all the extra stuff on there, Bob can make paint masks. He's got a machine and
Yeah.
so that's all paint. It's not decals.
Yeah.
Bad thing about it is there's no clear on it
No, I haven't put any clear on it
because of why it's getting
because
heavy.
it's heavy. It's already heavy. Didn't feel heavy in the air.
That wing carries a lot of weight. It does. Mine weighs like 63 ounces with the battery on board.
Yeah, mine's more like 68. Right,
Getting up
Bob?
there.
Yeah, and if you start adding clear, it'll be 70. We need to get one coat of thin clear on it to protect
Yeah,
it, it doesn't get gruddy,
Yeah.
grody.
Grody looking.
yeah.
But it ain't gonna be a whole lot of clear. I'd say half a pint, maybe. Half ounce worth.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the beauty of it is it's electric, so you don't have to have it fuel proof.
Yeah, but if you don't have clear on it, it'll get awful scuzzy looking from touching it.
Right, quick.
Uh,
Need a coat of wax on it too.
After
The wax, if it does get dirty, you can put another coat of wax on it and clean the first coat off with the second coat and then buff it back out and it's nice and shiny again. Learned
Yeah,
that the hard way.
Yeah, that brings up a question. I don't know if has anyone used any of these new ceramic coatings that they're advertising for cars.
no.
Works great on a car.
I
Have
don't
not
know if
tried it
they're
on a
heavy
model
or
yet, but I'm going to. I've got a bottle to do just that.
There's mine, Steve.
yeah, yours is a lot nicer looking than mine.
No, it's similar. Oh, well, that was a long time ago. It's when I had the APC on it. Gee whiz, that was a while ago. It's back around
12.
2010 or 2011, someplace in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Gary, are you awake?
Yep.
It's that time.
Okay.
All right, guys, I'm gonna get off here and leave it to Gary. Make host.
Any final comments from the guys on the other streaming?
No, I haven't seen anything, any additional text.
Okay.
All right, guys. Good night. We'll see you later. Gary's in charge.
Bye, Chuck.
See ya.
Thanks, Sparky.
Okay.
See ya.
Night,
See ya.
Sparky.
Well,
I was talking to
Yeah.
Brent, and he wound up getting hold of a Pathfinder that Bart Klipinski built, and right now it weighs with the IC setup on it. It weighs like, what did he say? It was in the 40-ounce range, between 40 and 50 ounces. He's converting it to electric, and he's figured he pretty well got it down to where electric and the IC is about the same horse piece when you figure with the battery on board and the fuel on board.
yeah, it's a wash.
Yeah, but he's trying a different battery, and I probably should let him talk about it. But it's really, he's working with these, what are they, Molex batteries? Is that what they call them? They're those batteries you buy, the cells. Anyway, he's building.
They're Li-ions.
Yeah, but he's buying these that he's working up with 3-cell 5,000 watt units to use on that plane.
Mhm.
And he's running going to be running a 2826, I think he said.
Yeah, it's pretty high. If he's running a 3-cell, it's pretty high KV.
Oh yeah, yeah. But anyway, that's his plans on that. I wish he was here to talk about it because he knows a whole lot more about electric than I do. But
He's a great guy.
Yeah, I can't get over how light Bart's Pathfinder was, and I don't know why Bart gave it up unless he's going to quit flying.
Well, that would be a shame.
It would be.
It would be a shame, but he's building a Raby Mustang.
Is
Did he
he?
start on it, or has he just got the kit?
Well, he's got the kit. I'll have to call him next few days and find out.
I know
We're
he's
gonna
got
try
the
to build
kit.
him.
Some people have said that they thought he never would build it, so I've been waiting to see. When he started, he keeps saying he had some other things he had to do first.
Oh yes.
Well,
We
we're going to
teased him
finish
about-
one that he and Gordon had started. He said he had to finish it first because Gordon wasn't going to let him off the hook on it.
Gordon keeps his Bart's nose to the grindstone because Gordon tells me that Bart is easily distracted.
I understand that.
Oh.
I fully understand that.
Yeah, have you been doing any painting? Has the weather been good? No?
Well, we finally got good weather the last 2 or 3 days, but I had been wanting a file cabinet, and I was wanting, a file cabinet. Well, what I got, one of the local schools was throwing out a file cabinet that is about 5 feet wide and 5 racks high. This thing must weigh 500 pounds. I don't know what's in this sucker, but there's no files in it, and it's all I could do. Vicky pressed down one end to get it in the. I went and got it in the back of my truck. It fit in the back of the truck, but only just barely. Got the thing home, and we slid it out the back and stuck one end of it on the ground in the building. Then I got in the truck and stood the thing up and she caught it on the other side and got it. And then we both took a rest before we spun it around and put it in place in the building.
Man.
But I'm telling you what, that's the heaviest file cabinet I've ever seen in my life.
Maybe it's
But
got
I
a
do
false
have a file
bottom
cabinet
full,
now.
maybe it's got a false bottom full of gold nuggets.
God, I hope. I could use some good luck. But I don't know. But no, I hadn't done. I'm masking the plane off. I'm hoping to paint Monday. Monday's supposed to be 72 degrees and no wind or very low winds is what they said.
Are you past the Poland stage?
Past the what?
Poland.
Well, we hope.
Okay.
I'm still sneezing, so I don't know, but I hope so. But the cars aren't turning yellow anymore, so we'll hope. We'll hope.
So you moving around okay now, Phil?
Yes and no. I've got a problem with my. They call it. They tell me my lat is the problem, and it's like a groin injury. You get once you get it hurt, it takes a while to heal it, and I keep redoing it somehow or another. I went flying last week and was doing some overheads, not very well, but I was doing them, and let's just say I got so sore I didn't fly a second flight. But anyway,
oh man,
know what that feels like.
But it's getting better. It's getting better. At least I felt like trying it. That's first time this year. That's the first pattern I've done this year.
wow.
Now I've gone round and round, but that's the first pattern I put up this year. I did fly full pattern. Tom said, "Well, it was a pattern," which means he could almost identify everything. He said, "I could identify everything," and the hourglass was a good one. But the overheads, we don't want to talk about the overheads.
Yeah, right.
But it'll get better. I need to practice. I mean, like I say, that's first pattern this year. So our weather has been awful this year. But as far as the painting, I'm hoping to paint Monday. I've got it about half mask off right now. If I can get the rest of it mask off, I can get the fuselage shot Monday, and then Tuesday or Thursday, hopefully do the, I don't know what to call those red slashes down the wings. It's a yellow wing with a red slash 45 degrees across it.
They call chevrons.
Chevrons. Yeah, there you go.
Chevrons. Okay. I'm gonna put the chevrons, hopefully put the chevrons on it next week. And then I don't know when I'll get I'm gonna put a black line on either side of the chevron, and it's got a white ring in the center of the plane. If you know a humongous, between the headrest and the front of the rudder, I'm gonna put a 1.5 inch white stripe in there. I'm gonna put a little red stripe on either 1/8 inch, 16th inch red stripe on either side of that, and then have a T in the middle of it for OTS on the side of it. It's a paint job Tom Looper drew up when he first drew up the humongous, the plans that I took to Tucson years ago and got Mr. Snow to sign, Ted Snow to sign. That's the one that I'm building. And get that thing finished here pretty soon, and then move on. Finish the next one to finish up is either the ombre or the one of the crossfires, and I have a crossfire like what you've got, and I've got a crossfire XLTC. And the XLTC, I must admit, I kind of stole Bob's paint job.
Yeah, here's some chevrons for you.
Oh, that's pretty.
I love this plane.
That's the Caprice. But anyway, it's I remember it's going to be an interesting airplane. I built the thing. It was supposed to be a 54 in it, and then I built it, and I didn't see the spacers on the outside of the motor mounts to bring the motor mounts in. So I built it, and the 54 won't fit in it. It'd have to go on a plate. But I mean, I can do that. But it's probably going to end up being a 51. I've got a 51 that's real nice. It's new. And I think that might end up it was supposed to end up in I was going to put it in a Gypsy, but I haven't got to the Gypsy yet. And I've got 3 other planes to finish before I start the Gypsy. So
hey, Phil,
I have to finish 5 planes before I can start anything else.
Hey,
yeah.
Phil,
wow.
Phil, I probably shouldn't do this in front of everybody, but would you be terribly upset if I didn't sell you that other twin?
Oh no. Well,
I'll tell you why I'm hedging on this is because I talked to Betty Weeder the other day, Buddy's wife, and it hit me that was the last airplanes that we did together were those two twins. And I kind of wanted to finish that in kind of, in tribute to Buddy.
If you ever do sell one of them, I want it.
Okay, I promise you the next one is yours. But if you don't mind, I mean,
all right.
I didn't want
I kind of understand that. I kind of understand that because I do the same thing. I'm building a huge. No.
Hawker Hunter.
You name it. Name it. That I searched for the kits for years. I finally got it, and I'm building it for Bob Galley, who I hope is still alive.
Yeah.
But he's the guy that got me do my first outside loop.
There you go. So you understand. I have Mark Weiss gave me a Trident kit. You knew it. I'll never build it. It's more or less a keepsake because I grew up around Larry.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
oh my goodness! Look at that little kid that Caffeine's got.
Yeah, look at that.
Oh, he's got to come on.
Yeah.
You got him on the handle yet, Caffeine?
No, not this one. The older has.
This is the baby. This is not a baby anymore.
Yeah, he's like 5 months old right now.
5 months. Wow.
Yeah. How you guys doing?
We're
Doing good.
Right.
Nice.
So you got another one there that you're holding in that cradle thing you got on there?
What's that, John?
What do you got? What do you got hanging on the front there? Is that?
What's that bag on your front, Caffeine?
Just a cushion.
What's that? Oh, yeah, just.
Oh, it's just a pillow.
Just a pillow.
Yeah, I thought maybe you had an infant in there. I'm thinking, man, he don't waste no time at all.
So what is that? Is that a little guy or a little gal? Can't tell.
Little boy.
Little
guy.
boy. What's his name?
His name is Razan.
Oh, he wants to cuddle with Dad.
What does that mean? Does it have a meaning?
It means composed, well composed. So we are hoping that he is going to be a very wise man and composed.
Okay.
Well, if you want him to be wise, don't let him watch this program.
Yeah, that's true.
Big mistake.
Yeah, that's true. I just realized.
Oh man.
Hey, well, I actually have some question to ask. How heavy is your flying box is? You guys
depends.
Well,
Too heavy.
Your flying box depends on how much stuff you put in it.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think I just got a low back pain just because I have too heavy flying box and I didn't lift it properly. I just hit my low back pain by it's improper lifting technique, I guess.
So go
have
to
you seen these little?
Go
what you need to do is go get you a hand truck. That's one of these little. Go to the like
Costco.
Costco. There you go, and get a little hand truck that folds up, and it folds into a little package like this, and the handle pops up, and the front pops out, and the wheels fold out when you bring the cables, the thing down, the wheels pop out and all. And you lay your box on that and carry it to the field on that.
But he still has to get it out of the car and get it back in the car.
Yeah,
well, that's true too. But the trick of it, I built one like that. I had seen. I'm gonna blame Bob for this because Bob Hunt used to carry this flight box that looked like a work of art, and it had a little fueler on the side of it, and he'd pull it up to his plane, he'd pump his plane up, so I had to have one. Well, I couldn't get that little pump.
Yeah.
So I got a big pump. So I had to have a gallon size can. And I had that in my box. Well, I had a gallon can and I had all my other stuff. And by the time I got it built, by the time I got this thing built and painted, it looked really good. It looked like Bob's box on steroids. It was twice as big. Not because I wanted it that big, it's just the way it worked out.
Hmm.
But everything was inside. The fueler at the gallon of fuel, it's still downstairs. Larry Trone picked it up at East Coast Golden Oldies and was going to carry it out to the circle for me. He got halfway out there. He says, God, I think I just slipped a disc. So I now use a wagon. I take it and put it in a wagon, and I put my chair in the wagon and all our other cones and everything we set up to, 90 degrees apart to practice, and use a wagon to get, there you go. There it is. And Hunt was I shouldn't say this with him here, but Hunt was a class act, and he was hard to follow.
So we got you fooled.
Well,
you know those three
well,
guys, who those other two guys are in there, Phil?
yeah, I know who one of them is. Looks like Gene.
Gene Schaefer, and the guy, you can't see the other guy's face, it's Bill Simons.
Yeah, well, those are class acts too.
And that box, just so you know about that box, Gene Schaefer originally had that box, or one like it, and it was a shoe shine box, and he converted it over to a little flight box. So we took it to a guy, Jim Capstaff's RC workshop. He made woodworking things. He made boxes, and we had him make those. He made kits, and there was like hundreds of them made. Everybody from the East Coast had one. They were all
one, but I couldn't get one. But I got I made the facsimile of it, and the thing that stopped me from making it as small as Bob's was I couldn't get that darn pump. They had a pump that was from a white gas thing you used to fill up lanterns and stuff. Well, we couldn't get them. I just could not find one. So I used a bigger pump, but I made it work. But you throw your back out carrying it.
Mine had a compartment for a 2-volt wet cell battery, and it had a little slot so you could see the 3 balls that they were charged or not. It was really cool. Yeah. And I took that box onto the airplane when I went to the World Championships in '78 with the handle, the battery, the fuel. I took it onto a DC-10. And nobody even batted an eye. Now try to do that today.
Yeah.
Used to be a national service tech, and I used to carry all my tools with me in a briefcase. And of course, they'd open it up and look at it. And the joke was always, or I thought they were joking, what are you going to do? Take the airplane apart? And my answer was always the same thing. You do realize I'm going to be on that airplane, right? Well, you can't get away with that today.
No,
you can't even carry the tools anymore.
In 1969, coming down from Alaska, from fishing, commercial fishing, I went and bought me a Colt Trooper Mark III 357 Magnum revolver. And I got on that airplane, and that revolver was sitting in the box, and I had a box of shells sitting on it that was sitting on my lap. And that's how I flew down to Seattle.
Wow.
Nobody said a word.
Can't do now.
No.
I tried to get some guys.
Come. I tell you what, if you ever go to Aruba, if any of you ever go to Aruba,
RC.
never carry a firearm. It's 5 years. It's 5 years for the firearm. It's a year for every bullet, in addition to the 5 years. Trust me, the biggest thing on that island, the biggest single structure on that island.
Guess I'd be in trouble, huh?
Yeah, you'd be in trouble.
The guy who has the best flight box, Phil, is Keith Trossel. His box is about 6 inches long and about 3 inches wide and maybe 4 inches tall. And he takes that out. It's just a little teeny thing. He takes it out, pulls out exactly what he needs to start. Isn't this true, Mark? Pulls out exactly what he needs to start and get his engine running and fueled and all that. And it puts it all in this little box. Keith Trossel, yeah.
Having known him for a few years, extra hearing protectors for the launcher for that.
Yeah.
Madman that's got such a loud motor on it.
Yeah.
What's he got on there?
Keith used to come here for our 4A. I kept wanting to get Bob down here, but Keith used to come, and Les McDonald used to come.
And Gene Schaefer.
And Gene Schaefer came. It was the first time I ever. Gene was the first one I ever judged that flew the wrong direction. It took me a minute to get it figured out, but once you got used to it, got it straightened out in your head, it wasn't anything different. It was just watch the shapes. They enter from the other side, but just watch the shapes. But he was such a gentleman. He was such a nice guy. I like Schaefer. He was a great guy. And
Bob, I must say that the little series that you had on Facebook was really, really good.
yeah,
You get
What?
to live through those experiences. The series you had with the with Gene
Oh
and the
yeah,
different.
yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Well, I'm a big fan of this event. By the way, I guess this might be a good time to bring this up. Um, do a little campaigning here. I'm thinking about running for Pampa president.
Hey, I'll
great
be
deal.
for you.
Because I want to make some sweeping changes to Pampa. I won't go into it here, a lot of changes, but a lot of it has to do with getting people to write about their experiences when they were younger, before we lose all these good stories and all this stuff. I want to fill in the fabric of history, and so that's just one of the many things I want to accomplish. So.
I think Mark Weiss would definitely go for stepping aside.
Well, I've already been talking with Mark at length about this, so he's very happy that somebody wants.
Oh yeah, I
I still
bet
have to get
he's
voted
ready.
in,
He's ready to give it up.
What? So so let me talk to the incoming president ahead of time. What I would like to see, especially from a Pampa perspective, would like the experienced people to put aside their experience a little bit. And I don't know, we got stuck here. Hello.
We
Can
can
you hear
hear
me
you.
now?
Yeah.
Hear me
All
now?
right.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Right.
We can hear you.
So and bring it back to a bit of basics. So I must be somebody that comes to the internet and probably come on Pamper content and learn control line from the very basics to, like, you could barely find what the beginner pattern looks like. You could, play by play explanation. How does it work? How do you weigh a model? Those basic stuff.
Yeah, the rudiments of it.
Yes,
Mhm. Well,
I would
yeah.
love to see that.
Well, I mean, I don't want to take this over and talk about just this if you guys don't want to hear about it, but I have some ideas.
I'm listening.
All right, I'll try to make it brief.
Yeah.
One is what makes people want to join Pampa? What do they get for their membership? They're not getting much of anything, unfortunately. So we need some value added features to Pampa. And one of them I want to do is we have a fairly large plans directory, and we were just gifted 100 sets of plans in flat format in a case. And we're going to scan those. So we'll have most of our old time and classic airplanes. But a lot of the airplanes, that just aren't available anymore. So what I want to do is, if you're a Pampa member, you can get a code as a Pampa member, go onto the website, and you can download the file, take it to local graphics house, and have a copy made, no charge. You have to pay for the print, but you'll be able to access it immediately. So that's just one thing. The other thing I want to do is put the newsletter online, because David's doing a wonderful job putting out that newsletter, but we don't have enough information in that newsletter. And the problem, from being an editor of 3 different magazines over the years, getting the information is the hard part. And I'll address that at a later date, how I plan to do that. But I think we should have a magazine up on the website in PDF format that people can download. Everybody's got a computer or access to a computer or access to a library.
Didn't you have a saying about feeding a magazine was like feeding a stove?
Yes, it's like a wood burning stove. Every month it consumes a tremendous amount of material, and when it's gone, it's gone, and you have to restock the stove. And that's the hardest part. It's like an iceberg. The hardest part of a magazine is not putting the magazine together; it's finding the material to go in the magazine. And I'm going to be leaning heavily on people to, if they love this event and want to save this art form, we all have to contribute. And the reason most people don't write, it's not because they don't have something to say or want to say or something worthwhile sharing. It's that most people don't consider themselves writers.
Yeah.
And they're scared to look foolish in writing. Well, that's the job of an editor. And it's the important thing is the information. We'll put it the right syntax and punctuation and, you know, all that stuff. We need the information more than anything. So that's a whole other thing I want to get into. Of course, our mission statement is to promote communication between people who fly stunt and to administer the National Model Airplane Championships. That's our mission statement. And I think we're doing the latter very well over the years, the nationals, but we've kind of lost, as Christian was saying, we've kind of lost sight of developing new people and helping new people. And I want to do a lot to do that, you know. So that's just a couple of things I want to do, you know.
Good ideas. I think it's good to have someone with your experience because at the head of PAMA, because one of the most important organs that PAMA has had that has been the cohesive force to keep it together and to grow it has been the newsletter.
Yeah, without a newsletter, you don't have an organization. And if the newsletter is small, you have a small organization. And again, that's nothing against David. He's doing he's doing the job he was told to do with the wherewithal that he has. But I think we can do better if we put this as a PDF format onto the website and we can start populating it with construction features. Now, in a magazine, I can tell you from experience, I was constrained to tell people who were writing feature articles 2,500 to 3,000 words maximum. You can't tell the story of how an airplane was conceived, built, test flown, adjusted. You can't tell that story in 3,000 words. So if we had this on the website, we could almost have unlimited verbiage and to a degree, almost unlimited photographs too at a lower resolution. So you still show up good on the screen. And then we can have people write articles and really get into the nitty gritty of how they developed the airplane, all the construction features and all the photos, step-by-step photos. Of course, this is contingent upon everybody buying into the concept of doing some work. They're going to have to actually, if they want to save this art form, we're going to all have to contribute. And we got to give the membership some reason for being a member. And I think if we do this, we can also lower the dues, because if we're not sending out a newsletter or having a newsletter printed and incurring postage costs, we can probably cut the dues back. And there's some people, and I can't say, I'm not at liberty to say who, but I've been contacted by at least one person who's very wealthy. I mean, very wealthy. And he wants to contribute some money. But I told him not to do it yet until we could see if everybody buys into the concept here, we can then take some contributions and use them in a different way than we've ever used them. We can help to pay offset the cost a little bit more for judges at the nationals and event directors and things like that. But we can also subsidize juniors to go to the world championships. And there's other things we can do with the money if we get a substantial amount. Now, Roger Wildman donated a large sum of money in its passing, and that we still have that. And we got to find fruitful ways to use that money to increase not just the membership, but the scope of our art form.
Have you looked at that European publication, Lena?
Lena, that's an amazing magazine.
It's a magazine.
I think I agree with you. I think there's some good leads to, I'm sure you've checked them out. I've checked them out.
Yeah.
And I like their format, and they have multi-language in their case. And there's some of them are written in Swedish, and I don't know what they're saying, but the pictures and the drawings and all that tell the story.
Beautiful. Nicholas Lofroth is the editor of that, and I've been in contact with him quite a bit actually to do some interviews and things. And I suspect that magazine exists because he or somebody else in that organization has access to a printing and layout and publishing facilities that are way beyond the scope of model airplanes, and they're just using that technology and that talent to put out that kind of magazine. We can't do that. I mean,
no, but we can do a lot in the form, the online form, the PDF form.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't cost a lot. And, laying it out, we may not be as professionally laid out, but we can lay it out pretty darn nice. I almost think that there should be some page where you can have a two-way conversation. Somebody reads the article and says, "Oh, I have a question on this," can submit it into there, ask his question, and the author or the editor or someone will.
That's another thing I want to implement, is to have sort of like what we're doing here, except to have guests come in and that everybody come in and ask questions of, like Paul Walker or Bill Warwick or whoever, or just anybody who has something, to offer, and have that person be the featured guest, and then people can ask questions and pick their brains a little bit. I think, and of course, videos are another thing that's possible on the website too. Construction features for those who have video cameras and can put it into some kind of usable format. We can put videos up too. So there's a lot that can be done, but it's going to require everybody buying into. And again, I use this term, saving this art form.
Yeah, I agree with you.
This is more than just a hobby or a sport. This is an art.
Yes.
And it would be ashamed after all these years to see it, diminish to a point where the last one out turns off the lights and that's the end of it.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100% because I grew up reading Stunt News when it used to look like a newspaper.
You had alligators all over it.
70s and 80s.
I used to read a lot
80s
of the
and 90s.
And I still believe that I missed a lot of the control line heyday. And now that I'm back in it, I would love to be able to enjoy it for as long as I can.
Yeah.
So I believe that move is very important. It was very good to see so many young people at the Worlds, but that needs to translate to other countries as well.
Yes.
To get youth interested and to do something.
The youth problem is difficult. I mean, if kids today are so electronic or digitally aware, and they're living in cyberspace, and I believe that pendulums only go so far in one direction. They hit a pin and they start going the other direction. People are going to get tired. Kids are going to get tired of living in cyberspace. When they click the computer off, they have nothing to show for it. That's going to take time for it to come back. But I think the human being wants to create something with their hands. It's just natural. And I think we have to cultivate that to a degree. But unfortunately, the younger people who may come to the realization they want to fly model airplanes, since they're digitally aware, they're probably going to gravitate towards radio control. Because video games are just like radio control is a real life video game. Except you can't push the button when you crash and get a new airplane. You got to actually build one. But
or buy one.
but having said that, there are ways to cultivate interest. One of the things I want to do is I want to come up with not just a pamphlet, but an actual booklet that has several chapters, and they get increasingly more involved. So if you're out at the field and you see anybody come up and watches for more than 2 minutes, they have some interest. And you have a little booklet which has your name. You can put your name and your email address on the cover, and you walk up to that person and you say, "Hey, it looks like you might be interested. Here's what we're doing." And the first chapter gives them a general information, and if they get more interested, they can go on deeper and find out what it really takes. But in conjunction with that, I believe that we should all have a trainer in our car so we can give them an immediate visceral experience. Get their hand in the handle and let them feel it, because that's when you get control line, is when you feel the life of the airplane at the end of the lines. So it's all got to work in concert,
Bob, you're describing that trifold that we had at one point in time that I used to take them to the contests, and I'd see people that were scratching their heads and wondering what we're doing, and it's about as exciting as watching paint dry if you don't know what's happening. And I would take, I had like 30 or 40 of them in my flag box, and I'd take one, I'd find out somebody that looked like they were really into it and kind of a leader type, and I'd hand them one, and I'd say, you need to know what we're doing. And I'd stand there with them while the flight was going on and show them on the trifold what the maneuver was, what the judge was looking for. And I'll tell you what, those people stayed for the entire contest.
There you go. If you show them, you give them something so they're involved. But I contend that trifold was not good enough. We need something that has more chapters to it, so that if they want to get in immediately deeper, they can. They can go in a little deeper. The first chapter would be kind of like the trifold, and the second chapter would be, okay, now you're really interested. Here's what we do, and here's my name and number. And this gets down to what I have preached my entire modeling career. Programs do not work because somebody has to administer and run a program. The only program that works is the one that each of us take on ourselves and run. And I call it each one, teach one. You find someone who has an interest, you take that person into your home, into your shop, and you work hundreds of hours with them to develop their skills, and then charge them in their lifetime to teach one or two more people. And exponentially, eventually will grow. That's the only program that works, is when each of us takes on the responsibility of teaching someone every aspect of this.
You're absolutely right.
That kind of happened when I was at a contest last year, and this one kid was sitting there watching, and I just walked up to him and said, "Where's your airplane? You got an airplane?" And he goes, "Oh no." I knew he didn't. So I just said, "Well, hey, come on over here," and I showed him we went up on the line where all the planes were lined up, and I got talking to him, and then I think I was flying, and then some guy had some Cox planes. He actually let him fly one. So I don't know. I haven't heard if he's done anything since then, but they gave him a phone number and that. So
I also contend that we shouldn't use half a airplane. We should use something that has enough of a pull on it that they get the feeling of the airplane, and it has a slower rotational speed, so they don't get dizzy right away.
This was basically during the contest, so it was like I was off to the side, so he just let him do it. So it was better than nothing.
One of the problems with this bringing an airplane to the field and teaching people to fly is you can only do it with people who are adults. Because we used to be able to take kids and go out there and put your hand on the shoulder and guide them around. You do that now, you get arrested. You can't go out and do anything with a kid. But what you can do is you can give them the pamphlet and say, take this over to your parents and call me, and I'll meet you and your parents at the field, and I'll teach you all how to fly.
Yeah. Well, his parent was there, the mother was there, so it was okay. So
you can teach adults to fly right on the spot, but you can't do kids because that's dangerous these days.
Well, I think I agree with you. I think that the best trainer size for what you're talking about is somewhere between 15 and 20 size airplane.
25, 20, 25
So,
size airplane. It has a
so
feel to
I
it.
don't know if you saw the video.
Yeah. Well, that's just some of my ideas. I got other ideas, but
whole shot would be a good plane for that. That's a great little trainer. It's a sexy looking little thing.
What's that?
The whole shot.
I really believe that if we're going to do a trainer to give them the initial visceral experience, and it needs to be something more rugged. I learned to fly on a Gillows profile trainer number 3. You couldn't destroy that thing, and believe me, I tried.
Or a Babarada Tough Baby.
Whatever, something that's not going to break, when you hit the ground as bad, or you can glue it back together. What makes a good, basic trainer is exactly what makes a poor intermediate trainer. They won't do aerobatics and stuff very well, but you got to get people at least to do a level flight and feel the airplane. I believe that's important. And then you can go on to a whole shot or something, or or flight streak or a ringmaster or whatever. Once they're past the point of crashing,
So what I did, Bob, when I was younger, I went through a lot of halfies, right? With little success, right? And as I got older and I had the opportunity to pay it forward, I realized that half-days were not the go-to. So
Yeah.
the kids that I teach, actually, all of them learned on a P40, product P40, and they fly the Tanager. And all of them, they're soloing, they're doing wing overs now and loops and stuff like that.
Kids are quick. Kids are quick learners.
And their building project is Alan Brickhouse's Ambush 15, which is a flat wing,
Yep.
profile fuselage for a 15 size engine. But that's a build project because they're flying the Tanager by themselves, taking off and landing. And that's a built up wing, and then
Kids today are different than we were. We didn't have something that trained us to do eye-hand coordination like they do. They have this computer game, and they're so adept at eye-hand coordination now that flying a model airplane, a controlling airplane, that's kind of a no-brainer for them. Once they get the basics, they're going to. Robbie learned to do the entire pattern in 1 week, and a week later, he took second in his first contest, and then took second at the nationals a week later than that. So kids learn, I told him it was going to take him a couple of years to learn the pattern. He just looked at me like I had lobsters crawling out of my ears. And he went out and learned the pattern in 1 week. And he thought, all kids are pretty much like that.
Bob, this is the fuselage from an airplane that was designed by a modeler here in Salt Lake area. As you can see, the wing is rubber banded on, but there's the saddle for it. The controls are all here in the fuselage.
Yeah.
And this is a 25 inch on here. And it's, believe it or not, it's old time legal because he designed it and built his first one in the late 40s. And he made kits and he carried them in the back of his car and he'd take them to the contest and sell the kits at the contest.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, I think they call it a flounder. But the wing is one side would be about like that. It'll do the old time, it'll do the full pattern, actually.
I like that concept because if you break a component, you could just put another component on it and fly right away. It's a good idea.
A foam wing would be perfect on this, It'd be so quick and easy. I've got the wing downstairs, but this is a fantastic trainer for an advanced trainer because it's symmetrical wing and that.
Well, look, hold that thought for it. I just had a thought. Remember I told you I had somebody who was willing to invest a significant amount of money? I'm not talking a couple of thousand, I'm talking a significant amount of money. What if we were to have, I have a friend out in Cincinnati, old time model kits, I think it is, it's Mark Lannerman, to cut us a kit, pay him to cut us kits. And we send these out to all the district directors to distribute to the people in their districts and say, build this airplane and take it with you every time you go flying. When you have somebody who wants to learn to fly, you have an airplane.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
That'd be good use of donated money.
Oh yeah.
That sounds like
sounds
like a really good idea.
I could certainly from what I have here, I could certainly do a CAD drawing of it and get it so that you could.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to get too much into the minutia of all this right now. I just want to make broad strokes here a little bit. This is why I want to do this. I mean, I'm not doing this because I want to be, I want to hold office in Papa again. It's because I want to save this art form.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I've seen these things fly. They're pretty amazing, actually. And that's full up right there.
Yeah,
that's all it needs.
Bob, you must be feeling a lot better because what you're doing is, I applaud you for doing it, but you're taking on a whole mess of work, brother.
Well, you got to remember, I've done stuff kind of like this in the past, running magazines. So
I know.
I kind of have it segmented how to do a lot of this stuff. But I'm going to lean on the directors. I mean, the directors are going to have to be more than just placeholders. They're going to be given action items to accomplish and get it done. And
way to run a business.
I'm going to expect them to do what they're asked to do. And if they're not, pass that along to another person in their district and wants to do the work. again, this is all contingent upon everybody pulling together and putting in, not just working as a director or editor or whatever, but getting people to contribute information and pictures and stories. And it can be anything from personality profiles to contest coverage to how-tos to construction features. It can be anything at all. We need to fill up, we need to have something so people go to the website, they have something there of value. There's some reason to belong to Pampa, you know. And the other thing, it's a little bit, I won't touch on this very lightly because it gets into a very scary area from the past. This is not a control line organization. This is a stunt organization. We are a designated special interest group of AMA.
No stunt wars.
And as such, you know, our commission is to promote stunt. Now, my definition of stunt, I think, is very broad, and here it is. A stunt flyer to me is anybody who intentionally deviates from level flight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for making
sense.
Special.
Yeah, I know what you're referring to, Bob.
Yeah, I don't want to get this into a thing where we get the general control line organization. We can't do that because we are a designated special interest group of AMA. So we got to keep to our mission statement. And I think everything I've discussed keeps inside our mission statement.
You're absolutely right. That was a sad situation. It was done.
We don't want to go. We don't want to go there.
I don't either.
The dam, let it go. You know.
Yep. It's over, done. Yeah.
So anyway, that's all I have to say. You know.
Bob, you'd be good for it. You've got the experience. You've got the background. You're talking about running it like a business, and that's what it needs. You need to be the CEO and need to be getting good people to pass it down to do the work.
Yeah, I got to delegate, and people who are delegated have to do their jobs. And if they don't, this won't work.
That's right.
But it's worth a try. I can't let it go. I just can't let it die. And I see that, you know, it's starting to diminish every year. I can see it diminishing as we lose people, and we're bringing in some young people, but not enough.
Right. Well, the days,
instead, you go to the World Championships, you see a lot of young people there. That was very encouraging.
Hey, Bob, do you have any statistics just on where the flow's going? Like, it'd be interesting to see, and I've wondered about doing this with Mac up here. Is I'd like to see the last 5 years of the people that are in control line, the numbers. Because I find that interesting. It gives you an idea where things are headed, in a sense, and I think that's a good thing to know. I don't know. I guess because I ran my own business, and that's stuff.
Well, there's more than we think. There's more. I'm convinced there's more people than we think, because we're kind of focused on stunt. But I think there's more people flying sport control line than we know. And the proof of that is all these forums on Facebook.
Yeah.
People I've never heard of, and they're doing stuff. They're making, you know,
all these people that I've never heard of either,
but they're contributing.
Well, that's where, yeah, you have to get out in the social media too. That's a big thing, I think, to get into with those people maybe and get them to come in to, you know, to see what we got. Kind of idea.
We need to cultivate our Facebook page and make it, you know, something much more meaningful. At the same time, we're doing the website. Websites have become sort of passé in a way, but we needed an anchor, and the anchor is going to be the website, where we're going to store everything. We're going to populate that with everything, and then we can cherry pick from that things to put onto Facebook, because you can't put everything on Facebook.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like a lot of the younger people use certain sites, like I don't know if it's WhatsApps or the TikTok, all these
Instagram.
That
is on Instagram.
Would help if you could branch out into those areas.
Yeah, and that's where we have to delegate certain people. You have to say, well, people who have an interest in that, say, you take that and run. Now, here's you take that and do something with it for Pampa. And one person can't do it all. I'm not going to do it all. I'll be a CEO, and I'll help. One of the talents I do have is to coerce people, and that's the word. To contribute. I spent probably 95% of my time at Flying Models, Model Aviation, and Stunt News on the phone, calling people who I knew had ideas or had construction features, who had something to contribute, and coercing them, guilt tripping them into writing an article. And that's what I'll continue to do because I'm pretty good at that. And of course, everybody is welcome to just contribute without having to be asked, you know.
That's where AI comes in.
It's a big job.
You jot in the few facts and then an AI will spit it out for you.
Big job.
What's the possibility with electric becoming more popular, the noise problem diminishing, of going back into flying at local parks and schools?
Well, you know, I have a thought on that. I've actually talked to AMA about this. You know, you go to park commissions, you're a taxpayer, and you have recreation fields, and this is our recreation. They should support us as much as they support any other thing. Look at how many baseball fields, soccer fields, basketball courts, tennis courts, everything else is out there, but there's everything for the athletically minded person, but nothing for the technically minded person. And we're just as important as the people who are athletically minded. And we have to make them see that.
This needs to be looked at as a sport as well as a technical thing.
Exactly. But there's no reason that people who are technically minded shouldn't have access to recreation.
I agree with you totally. Yeah. But the Europeans seem to look at it as a sport, and they get more support from
per capita. There's far more people in other countries flying stunt than there are here per capita.
Yeah.
And there's got to be a reason for that.
Well, it's like John says, I think, and I think that's actually a good thing. And I've kind of thought of this in a sense, is if you take it as it is a sport, then people look at it differently.
Yeah.
I think
the Europeans call it a sport.
Yeah, and that's what happens. Then people look at that and they go, "Oh, you know, it's a sport. What do they do?" You know, like it entices people to look into it.
Actually, what the European magazines and when they refer to people who fly stunt or any motor model airplane flying, they refer to them as athletes.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Well, even their magazines, model sport.
And you think about it, we are athletes. I mean, what we're doing is athletic, you know.
Yeah. You fly a competitive pattern, a real competitive pattern in the wind, and tell me it isn't a sport.
Exactly.
Oh, I'm telling you. Yeah,
exactly.
Makes sense.
Well, anyway, I didn't mean to dominate this thing, but I just
no, you're not dominating. We're actually feeding information back and forth. It's good, Bob.
I just wanted to throw this out there. Now, it's all contingent upon me getting elected, so we'll see how that goes. You know?
I don't think that's going to be a problem.
When is it? When would that happen?
That's a really good question. I asked that of our current president. He wasn't sure either. So,
oh my!
Now, one of the major things that maybe I've been thinking about this for a while, but one of the major things that pushed me over the edge to do it was the fact that Colleen Gilbert has come forward on her own volition and volunteered to take care of the fiscal part of it.
Oh yes.
And the membership and figure out where the money is and you know who owes what and when memberships end and you know things like that. So with that taken care of, the rest of the stuff is more the fun stuff to do. She's taking care of the hard work.
Yeah, I think that at the meeting at the Nats, there are nominations at that point, from what I recall. So you might need to be there.
Well, I'm going to be there probably anyway to be the appearance judge. So one of the appearance judges.
Yeah.
I'm going to fly classic while I'm there.
That'll be fun.
Yeah. Well, I can handle a one-day contest. I can't handle that week-long grind anymore.
No.
I've probably told you this story. You know, I went out and stayed with Joel Costantino in his trailer right on site for the last several years. And this year, he invited me to bring Rick Campbell along with me. And Rick, you know, won in advance. So Rick and I were in, you know, they had a camper that has the expandable thing where it slides out, you know, it's like a living room. And we had our sleeping out there, and in the mornings I would get up and crawl across the floor to my medication so I could get through the day.
Oh,
And,
man.
it was very humorous for Campbell. And one morning it was really bad, and he said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "No, I'm in cross-eyed pain." So he's a Berkeley grad blues musician. He's a phenomenal musician. So the next day he played for us a song called "Cross-Eyed Pain." And
Good deal.
he went home and
Oh,
he has
yeah.
a studio. He plays drums and he plays bass and he plays guitar and slide guitar. He put it all together into a song and he sent me the MP3. And it's great.
Oh,
So I called him up and I said,
wow.
I said, if this goes someplace, I said, since I named it, do I get royalties? And he says, yeah, we're liable to make tens of dollars.
Tens of dollars.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
Yeah. He's a character.
Yeah.
You know, I was watching, I stay in touch with what is going on in abroad with Control Line, and Mongolia has a very good thing going. I remember,
Yeah, they were at the Worlds.
yeah,
In
I
force.
remember seeing like one of the guys that was there, he had a junior program and they built a variety of stilettos, and you know, the youth are very involved, and I saw a program where they went on TV as well to probably make more people aware of, you know, Control Line. So they have a good thing going.
Yeah, we need to take a lesson from all these success stories from around the globe.
Yeah.
We have a tendency to think that we're in charge of this, but we're nowhere near in charge of this anymore. We've kind of become complacent, and the rest of the world has passed us by in a lot of ways. But that's okay. We can learn from them, and I think we need to.
Bob, if we can, if I can just interject, so if we can convince the Olympic Games to list Control Line as a sport and conduct a well-organized contest where you have announcers that can tell people what's being done and why it's being done, things like that, I think would go a long way towards improving the relations and the amount of people that are coming into the hobby.
That's a big
Maybe
jump,
not
though.
overnight, but
That's a big jump. I mean, the World Championships are kind of like our Olympics.
Yep.
I don't know if we're ever going to get to that. I'm not saying we can't. I'm saying we don't have enough people to, it's not a visible enough sport yet.
I think like what I used to do in my old club back in Wisconsin, we would have a contest coming up. I would let the media know. And most of the times I'd get TV out there and the newspaper would show up there and there would be a little article or a blurb or a 10-minute spot on the news or something about the contest. And that increased our membership a whole bunch. Just that exposure like that. And I don't think we do that enough in this.
We don't. I don't want you to criticize AMA, but in some respects, they have a lot of these functions there that are world functions and national functions, and they don't advertise them enough. They don't get it up to people to come and watch it.
Right. At the World Championship,
I never hear about what's coming. I always hear about what was there 3 months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The problem is, in general, we've been preaching to the choir. Instead of turning around and preaching to the congregation, we're preaching to the choir. And we got to stop doing that. We got to stop patting ourselves on the back and saying what a great sport we have. We got to make sure that other people realize what a great sport we have.
Yeah, we're speaking to other mothers. We are not speaking to the masses.
Actually, for our RC club, I've talked to someone that it was in advertising and that, and I asked her if she'd do videos, we'd send in our pictures and video, and she'll make it like a professional thing, and then she'll put it on all the different apps and stuff too.
Yeah.
And you have to do that. That's I think that's a key going forward is advertising.
Exposure.
I brought something up at our RC meeting once. I said about advertising, but there's ways to do it without any cost.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, I've got a radio station that's I got to talk to him yet, but I think he might do something, and I was hoping I could get them to like do little interviews with maybe 4 or 5 of the guys from the club to learn to so they can give the history on the radio and explain what we're doing and stuff, and that we're there. My son grew up and his friends 15 minutes away from the RC club, and none of his friends knew it was there.
That's right.
That will tell you something right there. But our club also didn't even have a sign out. I've actually got that coming. We're gonna have a 4 by 8 foot sign at least, so that people at least know if they drive by.
Ed Waskey, who comes on here quite often, he's been doing a thing out there in West Virginia that's quite good. But here's another thing, and we all agree on this. People have talked about this. The aviation industry is in dire need of people, a full-size aviation industry.
Yeah.
And they need to be contacted because they're the ones that should be cultivating interest in aviation in youth. And this would be a way to do it, whether it be radio control or control line or whatever. That if they started putting some real effort into getting kids involved in aviation at an early age, they would put the money in. We wouldn't have to. They do the advertising. We have to convince them that that's the way to get people in the pipeline to be pilots and air traffic controllers and mechanics and everything else in the aviation industry. We could be the grassroots of that.
Well, that's true because
get that started, but 20 years ago,
our club, how many in our club that started with Cox Planes and ended up with a number of them got pilot's license, and and that's where it starts.
Yeah,
huge.
Yeah.
Well, even the aviation, you're talking about aviation industry though, 20, 30 years ago when I was traveling so much, you get a kid on the airplane, the pilot was there when they came in and they give them a little pair of gold wings, they put them on their suit. They don't do that anymore.
I remember traveling, this is back in 1959, 58 or 59. We drove down to Athens, Georgia. My dad had an automation job he had to do down there. And we were going to go down and see my grandparents who were wintering in Clearwater, Florida. So we flew my mother and I flew from Athens to Atlanta in a DC-3. And the pilot came back and had me come up and sit in the co-pilot seat. And that's not going to happen today. But then when we got to Atlanta, I flew to Tampa in a Constellation.
Oh, my God.
Oh, Connie. That was fun.
I didn't get
seen a few of those.
I didn't get to sit in the cockpit of that, though.
No.
But
I have seen a few of those, but I've never ridden in one.
Yeah, the aviation industry's got to start being proactive about getting kids aviation minded. Because today, the average kid can go on a trip on an airplane and conceivably never see the airplane from the outside that he's flying on.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
And to a kid today, the aviation is a speck in the sky, 40,000 feet in the air.
Yeah, it's a contrail going across the sky.
Unless you live near a private airport or a commercial airport, like a general aviation airport or something. I live 0.8 of a mile. I got Wacos going over. It's a tail dragger, an EAA chapter there. We got all kinds of cool airplanes going over here.
Getting coverage by the local media can really take off. In my experience, we had a meet at the RC club I belong to, and we had the doghouse, and we had the flying lawnmower, and the witch, and the Superman, and all that stuff. And we invited the
stop sign.
Yeah, and we invited the press to come and cover it. We told them what we were going to be doing in that. Well, they made a 15-minute special on that, showed on the local news. It got picked up and wound up nationwide, and I believe it went international. And so there was a lot of people got introduced to the wacky side of radio control model airplane.
Well, you said the word right there, wacky. It's a double-edged sword. You don't want people to think we're goofballs. You want them to think we're actually doing something.
You're right. You have to get on there and explain. Here we're exploring the limits of aviation.
Yeah, I get it. We all get it, but it could look to the public like, well, there are a bunch of goofballs flying, things that look like that. I'm not saying all exposure is good exposure, but if we target this a little better, I think we could probably get more results. And of course, I'm just pontificating here. The hard work has to be done.
Yep.
That's
It's not really that bad. You just have to keep your eyes open and your nose to the ground.
what I've
That's
realized.
how I fly.
Well, that hasn't changed.
What I've realized is that you have to give people an opportunity to make a choice. The kids, for the most part, did not know anything about control line. And when they got exposed to this, like, I really like this, I really like and appreciate it. And I want to get that little move that you do. And they keep at it and they fight into fuel the airplane, and you have to say give somebody else a chance and stuff like that, and a genuine interest because they were exposed to it. But if they're not exposed, then they will fall into whatever is in their face. So like in the Fatima Aviation Club, I kind of limit drones, not that because they are flying RC, they are flying on on their own simulator, but I try to limit the exposure of things that are already heavily marketed so that they could be more immersed in what I think needs to be, they need to be exposed to as well.
Yeah.
Back in the day, and Bob and anybody that flew back in the 50s, mid 50s and 60s, and that will probably agree with this. We used to fly at the schoolyards and parks and places like that. Yep. And you'd start up an engine and you'd be halfway to fly, and about 3 to 5 to 10 kids would show up on their bicycles.
Yep.
That's how I got started.
That's the downside to electric. If we were able to do that today, people wouldn't hear them, they wouldn't come.
Well, that is a good point, but I imagine we could put a sound generator on one of them. But anyway, the idea was they were interested enough to come and see what the noise, and those that knew what the noise was came because they wanted to see him and learn more. And a lot of those kids picked up a handle and became modelers.
We used to fly half-bay airplanes in our front yard in Union, New Jersey. And it was a small front yard, little Cape Cod house. And we would fly out over the street. And the neighbors loved it. And the cops would come and hold the traffic back until we landed, and then they let the traffic through.
Really?
Oh. Yeah, you don't get that kind of cooperation. You're not going to see that nowadays.
Again. That's the problem with so many things. You can't almost do anything today. It's getting tougher and tougher.
Nobody wants you to have any fun.
Oh, it's awful.
Unless it's their kind of fun, whatever they like.
That's why I kind of like Trinidad because we, not to say that we don't have rules, but it's more flexible. We don't have an issue with noise and flying, or you see our flying side, it's pretty much open, and we are what you call like a fetting country. So as much as people enjoy their peace and quiet, you will hear the occasional car passing with loud music and stuff like that. So culturally, it's a thing,
Yeah. Well, we're all going to move to Trinidad. That's it.
We're all going to move in with Cha-Cha.
There you go.
Look at this.
All right. So he was learning some loops, so we were doing it high, and these guys already did this solo.
Yeah.
Banshee.
No, Tanager.
Oh, that's a Tanager. That's a good looking little airplane.
Yeah.
That's more kids than we've seen at our Nats in 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, like I was lucky in where I live. I live in the country, and my hometown's about 5,000. And I talked to the guy that runs the rec area, and he said, "Yeah, go ahead and use the baseball diamond to fly and stuff," which is nice. I didn't have to go through the city. I thought, red tape, right? So I just asked, he says, "Yep, that's okay." So
I
I said,
found
when I pushed the limit, I said, well, maybe you could make up a field just for us. Well, and then he kind of laughed, right?
at our county fairgrounds here. I years ago I had a fella from this area call, wanted to come down from Salt Lake and fly with him so that he and his kids could learn from us. Well, nobody wanted to make a 150-mile trip, so nobody did it. Well, I was over at the last year. I was over at the county fairgrounds, and there's this big asphalt parking lot, and here is a control line circle, about 3/4 of it still there, painted on that asphalt.
Oh.
I have a feeling I could go and fly over there. Just have to broom off the rocks and that have managed to get on there. But I don't think anybody
Blow
can
them off a lot
Huh?
quicker. Get you a good blower and blow them off. It's a lot
Yeah.
quicker.
Yeah.
You know, one thing I've been thinking about as well that might be a challenge. When you watch the other disciplines under model aviation, there is a almost ready to fly or ready to fly option
Oh yeah.
to get people started. When you look at control line, it always goes back to the build. And I'm not saying that building is not important, because that's one thing I like about control line, that we maintain the opportunity to develop a skill set, as opposed to everybody just running down ARFs and ready to fly options. But I also think that to get somebody in quickly, like you see how we had those Cox planes back in the days, a good Cox replacement that flies well in this era might be a good thing.
The foam airplanes, control line foamies, might be something to look into as a trainer, as a first trainer, because you can buy them in components, get 3 or 4 wings, have everything that bolts onto it.
I think I saw it somewhere.
If you break one of the wings, you can put another one on it, that kind of thing. And it'd be quick and easy. I mean, because Bob, I know you've cut wings that had a slot in it for a spar, and then you just covered it with fast cal, like a combat wing.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to do this. Yeah.
Yeah, and that takes a whole bunch of
Are
problems.
we still on YouTube, Gary?
Yeah, I
No,
think so.
no,
We're not.
No,
not on YouTube. No.
Okay.
I don't know. I got it on mine still.
do you?
Yeah.
Any comments?
No, not too much. Just Brent Williams says, howdy, y'all.
Well, he did that a couple hours ago.
Yeah. So I haven't seen anything new on
Think
there.
we should go to the after party?
I think
Well,
so.
I'm not. See, I got a thing down here,
We had the after party already.
and I got leave the whole meeting or leave the meeting. Now, if I hit leave the meeting, that might take me off of it, and then
Right,
I
that'll
can't
take you off
end
of
the meeting.
Had a couple
And
hours
I'm not
ago.
sure. I haven't seen anything new on here.
Think we should go to the after party?
I think
Well,
so.
I'm not. See, I got a thing down here.
We had the after party already.
I think we're there already.
No,
Yeah, I
no.
think Bob shut
It's
down
still
the
online.
YouTube when he left.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, what I've got on YouTube is Bob polishing the blue airplane. So
Yeah, yeah.
What I've got on YouTube.
Well,
is-
that's actually better. I'm glad. I really didn't mean to get this much in depth on something for the general public. You know, I wanted to keep
Yeah.
Right.
this group.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well,
Okay.
Well, Bob, I think most of us would support you in any way we can. So
Oh
I'm
yeah.
going to count on it. I mean, I'm going to count on every last member of Tampa to do what they can. I'm not saying, people, one's going to be able to contribute more than another because of experience and so forth and so on. But everybody's got to try to contribute something.
yeah.
Kristen, you can write up the experiences you're having down there and what's been successful for you with getting kids going. The pictures you just showed us are valuable. You can write this whole thing up, and we can put that on the website. And you know, I was even thinking about, and Sparky probably won't like this, but having a forum, having a forum on the Pampa site, and having a web, like a podcast kind of thing.
Yeah, he actually offered.
People.
He offered to host that, but they turned him down.
So forth and so on. But everybody's got to try to contribute something.
I think we're still on YouTube.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too, because I still got it on.
Yeah, we need to get off of YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shut
So
that
I'm
down.
afraid if I see leave meeting, I know the red one takes us all off. Where it
Well,
says,
mine says live.
edit.
My YouTube says live, but it's got Sparky polished in the blue airplane.
Oh, I've heard some things we just said.
Oh, really? You got something that was just said?
Yeah.
I heard it.
Yeah.
Listen, you can write up the experience that you're having down there and what's been successful for you.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. Mm-hmm.
I could do that. I'm willing to contribute.
Well, I'm gonna have to jump off anyway, guys. I've
Still
got
on.
a company coming in from Illinois this week.
Yeah.
Mark Romanowitz. Anybody know Mark?
I don't know him personally, but
I
I've
know
read a lot
Mark.
of his stuff.
Yeah, he's driving in with his son. His son's a guitar player, and we're gonna play some guitar. He's gonna go do some bird watching, and we're gonna do some model airplane stuff. So.
All right.
Oh, I wish I could be there. I'd bring my bag of harmonicas.
Yeah. No, I think it's time to.
I gotta go and get.
I gotta
get up
go
in the morning, get my car fixed. So.
Well, thank you guys for listening to my wacky ideas. But
Yeah, thank you,
Not a
Bob.
wacky idea, Bob.
I'll vote for it.
Yeah.
That'll be good.
All right. Good night, all.
Good night, all.
Good night.
See y'all next week.
Good night, YouTubers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big John, you gonna be around tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll be around.
I'm gonna give you a call. Take
Okay.
care. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Talk to you tomorrow.
Okay.